Hello, happy Saturday. How are you? This looks like it might be a little too bright, huh? Here, does that help? It's really bright. I must have configured it without the light on. So let me see here. Let me tone it down a little bit. It's a little better, huh? All right, can you all see me and hear me? Hi, Jan. Nice to see you. How are you? Is it feeling like fall where you are? It is here. I love that kind of in between. Like, you know, people are like, oh, I don't know what to wear, but I kind of like it. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Lisa. Yeah, it's better, huh? It was bright. I knew I needed it bright for the black, but I also didn't have the overhead light on when I configured it. Hi, Vicky. Welcome. Nice to see you. It's very fallish there. Yeah. I mean, it's a gorgeous day, but it's always it's kind of gorgeous here all the time. It's like beautiful and sunny, unless it's fire weather. So, hi, Ida. How are you? Happy evening. So, I'm making the Noodlehead backpack today because you all seem to like it as much as I do. And I've made a few before. Here's mine right here. It's a great bag. It's sturdy. Hi, Lexi. How's it going? Oh, you're knitting a blanket, Lisa. That'll keep you cozy. It's kind of nice. Blanket weather. Here's the back. I fussy cut my little tabs here. These are optional, but I kind of like them. I like that it keeps the straps at this angle. I made all my straps for this bag. I won't be doing that for this bag. Hi, Elaine. And I'm going to be adding one of these pockets to the inside. So, and this is what the inside looks like. There is one zippered pocket right here. It hangs down. And then I'm adding this extra pocket to this side right here. So this side will have double pocket, but it doesn't seem to bug it. So, you know, like it seems like a lot of fabric. This is the piece, the only piece that I put the heavy, like I use something called, well, I use something that when you buy it at the fabric store is usually called Peltex. Yeah, and I use the non-fusible just because I have like still probably 200 yards of it that nobody bought when I closed Chicken Boots. It's like the last thing I have left. So I'm using one little piece, you know, chipping away at that pile. So it is really stiff. This is it right here. See? She recommends like a stabilizer foam, so you could use that too. So. I also need to interface my pieces, but I did cut them. So, hi Mata, how's it going? So it's a really great bag. About this big. You can see my straps have worn a little bit right here. See that? And really the only thing I could do at this point is probably stitch them down on the bag straight through all layers to kind of prevent that. It doesn't mean that it's not going to start doing it wherever I stitch it down too. So, you know. It just might help it though. It is stitched a few times because when you bind it, the whole inside is finished with binding. And you're only binding this little rectangle on each side. That's it. It's only binding and nobody sees it. So, all right. So I think first off, let's see. I have my front pocket here and this is my interior pocket. I'm obviously going for a very magical theme because you can't go wrong, right? So it's for my nephew. It was supposed to be for his birthday last spring, and last spring was a little kooky for me. So I decided to put it on the back burner, and it's been sitting here staring me in the face, which I hate because I'm kind of a finisher. So I think this will be fun. Kind of clipped my stuff together, but I think I got everything I need. The only thing I didn't cut, I just remembered, is the zipper for the top, but that's really easy for me to do. So I have like, for this front piece, so when you buy this pattern, you draft your pieces. They're all measurements because they're all rectangles or squares. It's pretty simple. If you do it, I would recommend making it on paper so you can make another one because you're probably going to want to make another one. So I'm just warning you now. I have made one smaller and I just made it 80%. That's kind of what I did. I think I even did I think 80% because I tried like 75% and it just seemed a little, it's amazing what a quarter of something is when you take it off. So you want to make sure that you don't get it too small. It's a lot of effort for something that they may grow out of, you know. And this right here, so you cut, this is the front of the bag. You can see I drill holed my handle placement. If you're bold, you can do that. I cut the stiffener, and this is the lining piece. And I, on all the others, have an interlining of a canvas and interfacing. And I have that right here. This is all I used. I just used canvas and interfacing. I'm going to decide if I add it to this piece right now, but I'm not sure I will. So I'm trying to read it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, really? That's great, Matza. That's good to know. I've seen the Fall Raven packs, but I've never inspected the sewing. So they sell them locally here. I don't know why my camera's like right in front of the chat. I know what I'll do. Yeah. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's better. I'm not sitting there dodging and weaving. Let's see. I think I changed my top thread, but not my bottom thread. Yeah, I have navy blue on. I'm going to try and sew this in black thread, but I may have to switch around. I'm kind of happy that I might be able to get away with one color thread because the straps, you know. Yeah, aren't they great, Lexi? I'm going to tell you guys, like, I'm very conflicted about this one. This is straight up copyright infringement. And I bought it without thinking about it at the time. And then it has sat on my shelf for years. Because I would never have used something like this at Chicken Boots. It's too straight up copyright infringement. But things like this is what I gravitate towards. I love the hand-drawn. You know, I feel like this is true fan. This is a true fan, you know. One of my favorites, I didn't use it in this bag, is a, someone did a watercolor print. I mean, what she or he did was made a little watercolor of every location in the books, you know, like Rimmel Place and Hogwarts and Hagrid's Hut and the Weasley house. And if you look at it, it just looks like, you know, just kind of English, you know, places to be. And they are all Harry Potter locales. That's one of my favorites, and it's watercolor. It's really cute. Let's see. And then I have this one here of Hedwig, you know, carrying his owl. And then I have the 9 3/4. And then this one is a really popular one by Hello Quirky. I don't know the names of the other folks just because this is one of the most popular fabrics we've ever used, and people ask me all the time, so I know it off the top of my head. So Hello Quirky, she's on Instagram, and hers gets taken down quite often, and she puts it back up. So I agree. I don't really feel like there's any copyright infringement here. This is her version of Spectra Specs, her version of all these characters. Fan art, right? So cute. She has it in different scales too, and a few other different versions of it. It's a little changed over the years. Probably to make sure she was steering clear of all that. She fights back on it. I like that, you know, because she's like, what the heck, you know? And that's just because Spoonflower is probably honestly not going to spend the money or resources defending people who use their website to sell fabric. They just take down the fabric if they're told, hey, we have a cease and desist for these people. And they just take it down. So I've definitely ordered fabric from there. And then 2 days later been told, sorry, we're not going to fulfill your order because it's been taken off the site. You know, so it's like one of those things you got to grab it. So hi, Kevin. Welcome. How's it going? We're sewing the Noodlehead Making Backpack. It's kind of a confusing name. I know. People are like, you're making a backpack. No, it's called the Making Backpack. And it's because it was featured in the magazine Making magazine in the color issue, but you can buy it on the Noodlehead website just directly from her. Her name's Anagram. She makes a lot of great bag designs. They're very well thought out, really good stuff. So So this is the front pocket, and I'm pretty sure the way you put it together is just sew the top right here. But I have bound this edge instead, just straight up bound it as like a hint. And I'm kind of tempted to do that, but I'm not sure I have this little piece of Deathly Hallow binding left. Let's see how much I have. I don't have any other Harry Potter binding. This was left over from, we used to do this really huge chicken boots Harry Potter thing. I can't stress how big it was. It was really big. It was a really big effort for us as well. See, I'm not even sure. Look at that. I'm not even sure I'm going to have enough to bind the inside. So I have these backup bindings. I have this one here. So I could bind the inside of the bag with this and then use this as a hint on the outside, you know. It's cute, you know. I used to be really, like, as a fan, I used to be really, like, you know, Hallows or Horcruxes, Hallows! You know, and I used to think of the Horcruxes as being, or Horcruxes, I always was team Horcrux, you know, like, get rid of the Horcruxes, you know, but, and I used to think of these as a symbol of dark magic when they weren't traditionally, so. You have been Maribel? Awesome. It's very straightforward. I'll just get going because I'm hoping I can fit the whole thing in here today, but I'm not sure. It's not hard, but it's, you know, there's a bit to sew, you know. Oh, I haven't pulled my thread through. Hello, what a noob. So that's navy blue right there. I was in the middle of it. All right. So I'm going to press this. I'm going to do this one as well. So this is the only modification I've done is add this one right here. This is add this extra pocket because I feel like the bag could use an extra pocket. You know, so. Oh, you did, Lisa? That's awesome. All right, so we'll iron these, and then let me see what else I can sew before we iron. Do this, get our binding out of the way. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna iron that interfacing there, and I'm still trying to decide. I think I might actually add this interfacing to the front. Mainly because there's a strap sewn to it, but the strap will be sewn through all these thicknesses. That's how I'm going to do it. So, all right, let's switch over to the iron. I haven't even checked to see if the iron's set up. Let's see. We'll see. We'll see. How's that look? That's not bad, huh? That's not bad. It's always backwards than what I think. I went to a sewing thing yesterday, just hung out and sewed with some gals. It was really fun. And I really liked that the iron always was sitting like this on the cradle. I like that. I'm gonna iron these so that I can top stitch them down, I think, or maybe I'll understitch this one since it's white, you know. This is a fun pattern to plan the fabrics for. I obviously had a lot of fun on my cat one, and you know, I only added the cat fabric on the outside where the top on the zipper is, and on that little cat patch, and on the tabs of my straps. That's the only places I added it on the outside. So in a way, it's like it definitely says cat, but it wasn't as overt as it could have been. And then I lined it, of course, with the cats, you know. I'm obviously a really big fan of that particular cat print. You see me use it all the time. Someday I will run out of it, and I'll be really sad. Okay, where's my Oh, this is the wrong one. Didn't I just pick this up? Didn't I just bring that over here? Isn't there holes in this? What the heck? Is it this one? There we go. I don't really want to immortalize anything in there, but no one's going to see it. This will get stitched down on all sides. I'm going to try and definitely make sure it's all pressed on the whole thing, but at the same time, it's going to be stitched down. It's not going to be free flowing. So the interfacing will be fine either way. I turned off the steam and it's still steaming. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Beverly. Oh, you are? That's awesome, Beverly. What kind of fabric did you pick? I went on their website because they had a sweater knits email, and I saw that there's an orange melange as well. I'm just gonna iron this because it's bugging me. It's sitting here, I'm not even using it, but I'm gonna iron it. Lame, huh? Nothing like lint, am I right? I might use that one, you never know. All right, so let's understitch this one here, this pocket. I think this is the first time I've made this where I didn't bind this top edge. I'm only understitching, no. What the heck? Oh, there. I'm only understitching this one because I don't want to switch to white thread just to top stitch this one pocket. Stretchy, unknown remnant. Been there. Yeah, that's smart, Nancy. Having the lint rollers. We have so many of them. My daughter wears black leggings a lot, you know. Pug life. And I'm going to understitch this one because I don't want the black thread on the print. Why not, right? All right. So now, this has been kicking around my studio for too long. That's why there's all this lint on everything. I feel like when I cut something out, it's like my recycling philosophy. Just because you want to sew it doesn't mean you can sew it. So don't cut it out. You know, that's how I feel about recycling. People put things in recycling bins that are like not recyclable. And I'm like, just because you want it to be recyclable doesn't make it recyclable. All right, so this also has a curved stitch. Hey kids, how's it going? Thanks for following Cheeky Crafts. Welcome. I'm sewing the Noodlehead backpack today called the Making Backpack. There's a Simplicity Sew House 7 version of the toaster sweater. Oh, okay. So it's not her pattern, but Simplicity has one. That's cool. You know, not quite the same. Uh-oh. Well, you always know where to find the toaster sweater if you end up wanting that one, you know? So, hello! Nice to see you on Twitch, Cheeky. I'm also on YouTube, so you'll see me talking to imaginary people, but they're not imaginary at all. Thanks. All right, so there's a little template. She has you draft in the patterns. This is the only piece that's not rectangular or rounded, and it's a stitch template, so that you can get a nice curved edge. And this is great because then, like, on when you put stuff in the pocket right here, you don't have things slipping down into these corners. It makes it a little easier to grab. It's kind of nice, you know. I highly recommend. I don't know if you can see mine. Can you see my stitching there? There you go. So I'll leave my backpack there. Let's see. This is, I'm only stitching through the stiffener, the outer fabric, and that's it. I'm gonna center this. I can see my drill holes. I put drill holes for my webbing marks. That's very much something I don't mind doing. So let's see. I'm gonna clip this. I know you guys like using the clips. Why not? Because the stiffener is kind of stiff for the pins. And I'm gonna start by, I'm actually gonna clip this here too. Let's over clip. You can never over clip, right? Because I'm gonna start from here and go to up to here and then go around, you know? Hi Eliza, how's it going? Oh, okay, Jan, okay. That's what I kind of thought you meant, but you're cutting, okay, what do you think it will take 5 hours? I think they do. Jan, did you ask that about Goodwill? Oh, wait. Oh, how fun, Mata. That's awesome. You're gluing a PDF together? Big lurk, yeah. You glue your PDFs together? That's cool. Oh, I love that you two know each other. Cool, Eliza. Am I the resident expert? Can I come over and live? Oh, wow, Mata. Wow. Hi, Terry. Really? They do, Beverly? I didn't know that. That's cool. I always wanted to try shredding up my fabric scraps and using them as compost. The cotton ones, if they'd been pre-washed, you know. You can chalk this line on here if you like. So when you're doing these curves, the best way to stay nice and smooth is to try not to stop. It gets a little touchy. My machine is loving the thickness of all this. Can you see it? It's just like, yeah, let me add it. It's like, enough of this garment sewing. I want the thick stuff. Alright, let's get rid of this. Put these clips over here where I like them better. And I'm going to do a double stitch right here just because I like to. There's an optional that you can add rivets right here, which would be kind of sharp if you're using denim or canvas or something where the rivet would actually show up. I think they'd be a little lost on here. There we go. Now we have our pocket. You can see my stitching. Let me blow your eyeballs out. Sorry about that. Oh, okay, kids. Oops. Well, we'll never see that clip again. Jumped off my machine. Like, let's see how my curves are. I got a little funny right here, but for the most part, it's not bad. Maybe I can kind of tell the thread, go that way. I don't know. All right, so this one needs the strap. So we have our interior pocket and our lining right here. We're going to use that in a second, but we need our strap, and so I've cut all my findings right here. So this is what you get. You get a list, what to cut. Now a lot of these are the exact same piece over and over again, so don't be overwhelmed by it. Be methodical, you know? Like I sat there and I was like, all right, wait a minute, this is the same piece, this is the same piece, this is the same piece, and I just wrote like, this piece, do all these things to it, you know? So, yeah. Yay, Terry, your suit coat's almost done. Well, I hope it doesn't kill you. You know, that's not okay. Oh, wow, Beverly, that's really cool. What do they use the, oh, wow, that's cool, Beverly. I didn't know that. H&M trying to redeem themselves, and I appreciate that. Okay, so there are 2 handles, and I'll show you. This is one thing I love about this bag. So I like a bag that has a handle at the top, and this one has 2. But I want you to note that this handle is sewn into the seam back here, while this one is stitched to the front of the bag. And if you cut these precisely and sew them on precisely, they line up perfectly. See that? I made these straps, that's why you can see the seam on the back. I really wanted it to match. I'm just tired of black webbing too, so that's why I did it. So the longer one goes on the front here. And I am using like a traditional webbing. I have, you know, conflicted views about webbing, but. Oh, really? You think so, Jalen? Well, that's interesting. It'd be great to like figure out if what they're doing with it. All right, so when you're putting in the webbing, you need to, I drilled a hole, and I don't recommend you guys do that. It's just like for me when I'm doing black fabric, I know I've sewn this, I know that it lines up, I can trust where it's at. I sometimes will drill. And by drill, that is I shouldn't be saying drill, I apologize for that. I'm using a screw punch, which is like a Japanese paper tool for scrapbookers or people who do paper projects. They need a hole in the middle of their project. As a pattern drafter, when I was doing patterns, all I ever had was my awl. This is why I started using an awl, was in garment school. This was how you marked the tip of a dart or the back off of a dart. They didn't have anything fancy like a screw punch. When I discovered the screw punch, I got that for all of my pattern drafting needs, because that way I could have this nice clean hole in the middle. And the awl isn't very clean because it leaves the paper pressed to the back. And sometimes the awl hole will fill itself in. So that's why you'll see when I do my punch holes on my patterns, I draw a red circle around it with a cross hatch in the middle. So maybe if that hole gets torn or something, at least if you have that crosshair, you know where it was supposed to be and you can kind of line it up again. So this is like a really long way to say, I'm using a screw punch meant for paper on my fabric. And you don't have to do that, but you can just put a pin in there or chalk or whatever you want. But I have to make sure that I completely cover up that hole, right? So the way I'm going to do this is I'm looking at my bag over there. I know that I put this backed off a ways, like about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm actually going to sew 1/4 of an inch right there. First, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm also going to make sure that my straps match each other before, you know, I commit. Actually, I'm kind of distrusting where I put that. Maybe it was to the outside. Let's get my pattern piece. When in doubt. Oh, yeah, I just lined up the wrong one. So. Oh, really? On the Love to Sew podcast, they went over that? That's good information. I know there's a few people here who listen to the Love to Sew podcast. Greenwashing. It is a thing. They are definitely trying to make up for some past transgressions. I've always wondered, like I've talked to a couple gardeners, I was like, could I shred up a little, you know, as best I could, all my cotton scraps, because I had so many, and use them as compost? Wouldn't they be colorful out there? I wanted to see my chickens picking through the fabric scraps. I figured after a rain, they would be, I know I'm saying compost, but that's not what I meant. I wanted to use it as mulch in my garden to, like as a weed block. I'm not using any of the proper terms for that. Sorry, guys. I'm not a true gardener. I'm the first to admit that. I'm more of a farmer type that raises animals. That's better, more my strengths. But I don't really like putting down weed mat because, you know, like the dust will blow on top of it and then weeds are growing on top of your weed mat and you're like, oh, dang it, you know. All right, so here's so see, I think I want it like this, you know. What I had just done was put my strap on this side of the dot, but I want it over here. So when you're using webbing like this, you can tell I actually didn't melt the end of my webbing. You can if you like. Be careful of the fumes. They're really bad. And they smell really bad and they'll give you a headache and stuff. But you really need to enclose this and stitch down your webbing. Webbing is really weak, and the only way to really make it strong is to stitch it down. Don't just leave it like this. Don't just burn the edge and do a little bit. You really need to be firm and tell the webbing, hey, this is what you're going to do now for the rest of your life. And I want to make your job as easy as possible, so I'm giving you all the tools. And all the tools means I'm going to stitch the heck out of you. And if you want to put a little X on here, you know, I usually only do a diagonal line. This is when I always think about that, like, puzzle of how to draw, like, there's like a little house with a roof, triangle roof and a square, and there's an X in the middle of the house. And there's a way to draw it without lifting up your pencil. And I always think about this when I'm stitching my webbing straps. I make it like a personal goal. All right, so now we have our strap down. Now, if you're going to put your little decorative thing right here, I didn't know what size I needed. I just cut something because she just says, if you have a leather patch, put it down there, you know? So, oh, that's good. That's good. Exactly, kids. Awesome, Terry. Yeah, we want to see your jacket for sure. Yeah. Right, Beverly? Oh, you got your bow line. We're doing that soon, Megan. That was my needle sharp box too. So let's see. What do you guys think? I mean, do I try and go for a circle? Oof, it barely fits in there. Maybe I shouldn't have picked this. You know what? It would have been smart if I had like thought about this first. I could have put this behind my straps and stitched up my straps a little bit, you know? Oh well. What do you guys think? Should I leave it off? Maybe I should leave it off. I'm gonna leave it off, I think. Sometimes, you know, gilding the lily and all that. All right, so then let's get rid of some of these lint pieces here since we don't want them to show through on the inside. We have our head wig bringing us our owl. Just want to cry thinking about that in a good way. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. This bag, you kind of assemble it all flat and then you sew it all together at the end. Remember, this is getting kind of thick. Okay. Oh, someone said they like these fabrics. Yeah, I got all these on Spoonflower. Spoonflower does custom print fabric for people who design fabric. I've designed fabric on there, and I'm no fabric designer, let me tell you. So, yeah, exactly, Lisa, right? You're like, circle, Mata. I don't want to sew a circle. It was really tight in there. I wouldn't have been able to get very close because the webbing straps were going to prevent my presser foot from being seated properly on the fabric. It would have been like half and half. That just sounded like not setting myself up for success. You know what I mean? I think is this getting kind of thick? I didn't put that, maybe I didn't need to interface this. Definitely don't need that canvas piece on this. Mine is this thick, but I didn't put this pocket here. And these are, this is a twill. This is a canvas. This is also a twill. And this is a twill. When I'm buying, if anyone's ordering Spoonflower fabrics, I've ordered a, yeah, you don't even want to know how much I've ordered. I've ordered probably 1,000 yards on there. And my favorite fabrics on there, when you're talking about the wovens and things like this that you need sturdy, are I like the twill because it's a lighter weight and easier to sew with. But I love the linen cotton canvas. I love the look of that. In fact, I don't have some right here. Sorry, that was something else I cut out today. The linen cotton canvas is great, but if it's a little thicker, but the texture it's really good. And then for other lighter weight things, I like the poplin and I like the Kona cotton, just so you know. But I highly recommend getting their like sample pack of fabrics. That way you can just see. I think it's either free or $3. It's worth it, especially if you're learning about fabrics and you want to know the terminology of fabrics. It's kind of a nice cheat sheet because you get a swatch of every fabric in their entire library. You see the title of it. I'm just going to do a little bit down and I'm going to do a little bit here and then I'm going to check everything on the other side to make sure it's all groovy. And plus then when you're ordering fabric, you kind of have some sense of what you're getting. When it's printed with the ink on it, it changes the weight and the thickness and the texture of it. Like this is great because there's no background. This is pretty much the true feel of this twill, whereas this, might be a little bit different. This one's definitely different. A lot more ink. All right, so this is looking pretty good. I'll finish kind of tacking this all together, staying in the margins of the seam allowance, which are about 1/4 inch. You can see this wants to move. It's kind of bubbling right here. So let's set myself up to succeed here. I'm going to rip this out, but I'm going to go like this. I'm going to do it against the stiffener. It'll be faster and easier. I won't even take these threads out just because it'll all get enclosed in the binding seam. And I love breaking rules in front of you guys. It's so good. Do a little bit more right here. Mainly because I really want this to be nice and flat like this. So let's sew from the inside. So I can go from the center out towards the corner. If I get a little bubbling on the inside, I'm not going to stress about that as much as I would here because this is going to show on the right side. Remember, this is all bound on the inside. So setting yourself up to succeed is, you're going to enjoy the process much more. And I do this sometimes where it's like if I need to stitch the perimeter of something, if I'm not doing it production style, I will definitely pick this up and move it around and do it in a few places. See, I'm getting a bubble right here, so we're going to get rid of a little bit right here. It's because it's so thick, There we go. All right. This bag is a little overkill on the Harry Potter, but there's nothing overkill about Harry Potter. So, all right. So now we have the other back panel. So I have I'm sorry, I'm using zipper by the yard. I know a lot of folks don't have that, but you just use your regular store-bought zipper the same way I'm going to. It'll actually be probably a little, I'm not going to say easier or harder. It's going to be the same. Like I'm just going to sew over my coil down here. It won't matter. So yeah, I haven't even looked at chat. Sorry about that, you guys. Oh yeah, Megan, Noodlehead has lots of sources for waxed canvas and canvas. In fact, they're even in the pattern instructions. So yeah. Yeah, what's cotton oilskin? Is that like waxed canvas? Yeah, Megan, right? I have like all my swatches. Ah, Merchant and Mills. Perfect. Thanks, Jalen. Yeah. I've heard of oilcloth. Hi, Heather. How's it going? I don't know off the top of my head, Eliza. You might try Hearts. I feel like I've seen bag kits there. And then if you're looking for like outdoor fabrics, you can try Seattle Fabrics. I don't know if the Rain Shed is still going. They were retiring after 30 years and they were having a really big sale, but the Rain Shed in Oregon had all kinds of really great fabrics. And I don't know if they had wax cotton. I feel like I saw it, but it's probably gone. So, oh yeah, oilcloth and oilskin. Yeah, I like that stuff, but yeah, and you can wax your own. Thank you, Polly. Hi, Polly. I didn't even see you. You can wax your own. She even talks about it. She even says, like, I do have all those instructions, but she says she has this whole thing on tips on working with it. And let's see. I don't know if it says here on this one, but it does say, let's just look. I have the directions right here. I forgot I printed them out a long time ago. Let's see. Where is that? Fancy Tiger Crafts, Dry Goods Design, Gather Here, or Al Francis Textiles on Etsy is for wax canvas. And then for the hardware, Sewing Supplies on Etsy or Emmeline Bags. For zippers, Zip It on Etsy or waywack.com. Her cover bag fabrics are all from Al Francis Textiles. The bags are really cute. Like there's a blue one. I'm pretty sure this is lined in Liberty of London. Oh no, it's not. Maybe it was someone else's. Does that help? All right, so I apparently need to iron this a little better. This is a fabric that I designed because my sister and I collaborated on this Harry Potter fabric where she wrote years 1 through 4 journal pages, and then she illustrated the margins with little things. Hermione's journal. And then I took all of her little elements and I made a fabric for it, and also I made a fabric out of her journal, her handwritten journal. It turned out really cute. That was for one of those things. All right, let's iron these. There we go. I bought this bag pattern, I feel like, like less than a year ago. It was in the color issue of that magazine, and then and I didn't have that magazine, but when Noodlehead got permission to sell it herself on her website, that's when I saw it and that's when I got it. So I feel like those sources that I just gave you are probably pretty near up to date, you know. Sorry I didn't iron all this before, you guys. I wasn't here all day yesterday. I made sure I had everything for this on Thursday and I still forgot the zippers. Yeah, if you wax your own, like Polly says she does, then you can also like repair your bag when you need to, because the wax eventually, you know, you just kind of need to reapply it. So at least then you'd be kind of adept at that, you know? You wouldn't be shy about like maintaining your bag, and you'd be like, I got this, I know how to do it. Is it the same idea, Polly, as making the like reusable wax covers, or is that completely different? I mean, I imagine it's a different wax because you want food grade for that. I know there's lots of tutorials out there for it. I really feel like Seattle Fabrics has all the stuff to do waxed canvas. I feel like I follow them on Instagram. I used to use them for some of the prototyping I needed, but I really preferred Rain Shed because they were really close to me. Like they were just in Oregon and I was in Northern California. So, all right, so I thought did I take out pins just now? I really did, didn't I? I took out pins, didn't I? Those, I needed those. What the heck? Let me get my pattern again. Ay, caramba. Ay, caramba. Yeah, okay. I'm just you can put it wherever you want. The pocket's gonna fold up like this. It's gonna hang from the inside like this. But I'm also going to, let's see, I'm gonna sew it right sides together, and then when it turns in there, this is right sides together. You know, actually, I want to do this. I want to do this wrong sides together, so that when I push it through the hole, the right side will show on the inside of the pocket, right? Why am I confusing myself right now? It's because you're watching me. Ah, okay, okay. All right, so let's mark the center of my pocket here. And let's mark the center of this one too. No one's gonna see this pocket unless they unzip it, right? So I would like the lining to show. The thing is, like, this is for my nephew and his mom. This is his mom's drawings. That's why I thought it'd be nice to put those in there as like a little, you know, secret treat. Sorry, my chair is all cockeyed. Okay. So let's see, yeah. So if I put this on wrong sides together, and I feel like it's 3.5 inches down. Pretty sure it's 3.5 inches down. I can look at my other bag, I know. I'm just trying to see if I know. Okay. I'm doing it 3 inches. Look at my bag. See what I think about it. Like, do I think it should be higher or lower? Well, that's quite a bit. I think it could be higher. Yeah, and it's nice. I can see the inside of the fabric. It's upside down. You know, I did that on purpose. You know why? I did that on purpose because this side is going to be against here, and then this is the side you'll see when you open the pocket. You know what I mean? How do you say your name, X Harley? Ooh, okay, so what's your question? You're saying tips on how to print your fabric, meaning like how to design it or how to get them printed. Hi, Eileen. You're between patients? All right, so yeah, I'm hesitating because I'm like confusing myself. So if this is wrong sides together, and I push it through, it'll be, right? It'll have the stuff in there. Hi, Sandy, how's it going? Yeah, so I just want to know if X Harley is looking for a place to do it. So I've done it on Spoonflower. I haven't. How to get it printed? Yeah, so go to spoonflower.com, and there's other companies that do it now. They were kind of the pioneer, and I've used them, and it's really easy. You can upload your design. You can upload your design and order a print within like 5 minutes if you already have something. No one will see it. You can make all your designs private. You don't have to make them public. But what's really key on there is the repeat. And you can play around with the repeat on there. You can even like, when you upload your design, you can click it, configure it over and over. Like you can just sit there and just watch it kind of do a few things by putting in like the DPI or the scale or the type of repeat you want, like tiled or off kilter from each other. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. You'll start looking at fabric completely different when you start looking at repeats. And if you don't have a design and you don't have the software, they have a free built-in software that you can use, I think called PicMonkey. They might have a different one now. that's pretty easy to use, and then it fully integrates with Spoonflower. You just go to that little, from Spoonflower, you go to the little site, it has a link and all that. You design your little print, and then you're like, okay, I'm done, and it brings you back to Spoonflower and it shows you. It's so much easier than you think. And then if you really want to start like diving into it a little bit, Spoonflower put out a book a few years ago. They put one out recently, but this one doesn't teach you like this other one does, and it's how to design fabric on Spoonflower, and it's really great. Oh, they have YouTube videos too, and they have a blog. And then if you're looking for a really good tutorial on how to design fabric not Blueprint, you guys, what's the other one? Oh my gosh, what's the other one, you guys? There is a video on how to design fabric. You can even do a free trial and see part of it. It's in 3 parts, I'm pretty sure. It might be 5 parts. And it's Heather Ross, Tina Gibbons? No, it's not Skillshare. And it's not Craftsy, because that's what Blueprint is now. Yeah, it's great quality. They print on like Creative Bug. Thank you, Elaine. Creative Bug. I knew it began with a C, but I didn't want you guys to say Craftsy. So on Creative Bug, there's a really great how to design fabric. I actually was friends with Heather Ross, like when she did Monkey Monkey. I did all of her patterns for her. And she pioneered that whole design her own fabric thing. So I kind of saw her go through that. And there's 3 different designers that they follow on there, and they all have different styles. And I feel like that's a really great way to not say, oh, I have to do it the way this person does it. You don't have to do it the way anyone does. You have to do it the way you want to do it, whatever you're doing, right? So you can just see that they all use completely different methods. They have completely different philosophies, and one of those might speak to you, you know, and kind of grab you and go, oh, okay, well, I don't have all that fancy stuff. Like that person's just sketching and scanning it in, you know? So there's that. The quality is amazing. There's like 19 different fabric bases, I think, 20 different fabric bases you can pick. And you can get a sample pack of the fabrics. And then I highly recommend getting the color map, because I'm pretty sure that's pretty affordable too. And then what it is like, if you're designing your fabric and you're picking a color, you can pick a color and it look one way on your screen, and then when you print it, it doesn't look that way. But if you have that color map, you can go, okay, I want this orange here to print this color on this map. So you input that number and then it prints exactly like that. I don't know much about fabric design. I just know what I've stumbled learning through. So I'm a good person to talk to if you know nothing about it, but there's people that are light years beyond me. So, all right, so let's just go for this. So I can still see my square that I drew on there. And I'm going to just draw it on, or sew it on here. This is how you're going to put your zipper in. She has a really nice, easy way to do it. My stitch length feels really long right now. So you just stitch this thing, this box, this thing. I actually feel like my box could be bigger because my zipper is a little chunkier than a store-bought. So we'll see. You notice I put my back tack right here. It's because like I don't like putting it near the corners. You might get some issues. All right, so now you're gonna cut this. Right now I'm just cutting on the lining and the interfacing and this little pocket piece right here. Did I do this wrong? I feel like I just did this wrong. Wait a minute. Now that I'm cutting it, I'm like, maybe I should read her directions. Oh, let's see. I think I did it right. No, I did do it wrong. Dang, I had it right all along. See, look. You can comment but no video. Refresh. Yeah. Exit out and come back. Look at that, you guys. I had it right the whole time and I still doubted myself and I did it wrong. All right. This is great. You guys won't make this mistake. I have, Sandy. They're really awesome. Drink! It's Miller time. For those of you who don't know, the inventor of the steam ripper was someone Miller. So now we have dubbed this Miller time. And you need to drink. They wanted to turn my steam ripping into a drinking game. I think I was having a particularly bad sewing day that day, and you guys were making fun of me. That's what I think. All right, I don't recommend having to reline up your cut box for this pocket. This is the way she does this is one of the easier ways to line up a zippered like welt style pocket. This is I don't want to say cheater welt as in it's bad, because it's not bad at all. I like this. I like this because it's like there's no like, oh, I have to sew that zipper welt pocket with this style. It's like no problem. Unless you doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. You did, Terry? Oh, no. Look at y'all spam and drink. No need to celebrate. Come on. Come on. I would love to play around with fabric design more, but whew, there are so many great people doing fabric design, and my designs are like, they're okay. This one is the one. This one and the knit are the one I like the most. And this is like, you know, all my sister's little drawings. She's a scrapbooker. She's papered stars on Instagram. She's not a scrapbooker. I take that back. She's a journaler, and she decorates her journals. But she's been doing it since high school. She's been doing it for forever. She has a huge stack of them. All right, almost done. And you guys are going to wish me luck, because now I have to flip it over, and it's not going to be symmetrical. We're going to see how not symmetrical my sewing really is now. Let's take all these out first. Can't believe I doubted myself. I'm very disappointed in myself for doubting. See, look at that. I drew it on the wrong side because I was like, the seam ripper is your friend. Lisa. Watching other people is way more fun to seam rip. You wish it was more fun there. Where is it? All right. Come on. All right, I'm on the line. Now we're going to pin. We're going to pin the heck out of this. I just need a box. The slit doesn't matter. You don't really need your slit to line up, as long as you have your corners clipped into by the time we go to turn it. It's all good. The style, if you have this problem, don't recut. You're fine. You're fine. It's all going to be fine. Because the way you put the zipper on here is easy peasy. And having a zippered pocket is so nice, you know, having that secure pocket. So, you would shout. Yeah, right, Eliza? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, good. I'm glad you guys don't get crazy about mistakes. It's just part of it. All right. I'm going to go like one stitch past my old box. That's how I'm going to fix it. This is my opportunity to make a slightly bigger box. I probably should take myself up on that. Since my coil chain zipper it's a little heavier. I think home zippers are 2.5 coil, which is like the size of the teeth on the zipper. They're not teeth though. The kind I'm using, it's a coil chain. And the one I'm using is 4.5. The difference is pretty big when you see them side by side. All right. So let's look at this side. Yeah, it's not upside down. Watch it be upside down now, Lisa. So I'm getting back into those corners there. Because I knew that this right here sits against the bag, right? And that when you pull the pocket up and line it all up like this, when you open the pocket now, you'll see these right side up. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna press this. We're gonna press the heck out of it. Oh, you did a welt buttonhole? I am impressed. I have never done that. I don't know if I really want to. Were you making a coat? That's cool. All right, so the key is really clipping right into these corners right here. It doesn't matter if you have a triangle or what. People just do that because that's what it creates. You clip into these little corners here. And, you know, making sure your corners are nice and crisp is always setting yourself up. You can see mine they were kind of crisp. No one likes a kind of crisp apple, so it's probably the same with a welt pocket. When the iron touches the interfacing on this side, it feels kind of creepy to me. This, of my sister's drawing, this right here is my favorite because if you haven't read the books, you don't know that Rita Skeeter is a secret animagus. Spoiler alert, but I'm not apologizing because you should have read the books by now. And Hermione figures it out and traps her in a jar. And she's a beetle. So that was one of my favorites. I love that my sister drew that because I was, you know, like, yeah. All right, not bad. Not bad at all. It needs to look good on this side. It's still, don't worry about this. This is on the inside of the bag, you guys. Don't worry about it. One of the ways you could probably iron this, make it a little easier, is if you press your seam like this first and then turn it in and press it like we do on the French seams, you know, because it'll want to be on a crisp edge a little bit easier. So my brand is a Rowenta. It's showing its age. But I'm trying not to buy anything right now because I'm trying to steel myself and maybe ask for sponsorships. But it's hard for me to ask for that. All right, so there we go. That's going to be our pocket. Don't pull like that. Don't be funny like that. Okay. I'm talking to my sewing. All right, so where's my zipper? I just had it. Here it is. All right, so then your zipper, you're going to move your lining out of the way, right? You're just going to lay your zipper right underneath the hole. And then you're going to top stitch it down. So the only thing you need to make sure of is that your hole is centered on the zipper and you have enough of your zipper on either end past the opening of the zipper of the hole, right? Just like that. And then you just top stitch it down. Exactly. When people like apologize for spoiler, or people get mad at spoiler, I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I have a friend who's like, wow, I gave him the Sorcerer's Stone. You guys all remember this story. By the way, he loves it, but he's not done with it. And he's like, I'm looking forward to every page. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't believe you. You're not done with it, and you're loving it, and you're looking forward to every page. I gave that to you 2 months ago or 3 months ago. You're just having me on, I think. It's a wonder we're still friends. I know he'd die for me, too. But I'm like, that all ends now. If you haven't read these books and you don't know what a Slytherin is, because he didn't. All right, so you can see like my zipper coil is pretty fat, right? But I have probably have 800 meters left of by the yard zipper. Yeah, you could totally glue it. I just don't have any. Oh, Heather, yeah. Actually, that's so funny you brought that up, Heather. I watched the first season right after it came out, and I really loved it. And then I thought my husband had discontinued our Hulu thing, because I was like, you can discontinue, it's fine. I'm going to change my thread color for this. And he was like, he asked me again, so can I discontinue Hulu? I was like, you've asked me that like 3 times, and I thought you had. Where's my cream thread? And I just started catching up. I'm on like the 2nd season now. Where's my cream thread? Oh, there, it's way over there. Okay. Yeah, it's so good, Heather. I really like the character development. It kind of grabs you, huh? All right. I'm going to leave my black bobbin in. If you're new here, I have a heel lift machine. My heel is doing this on my foot. But when I leave it up like this, like it'll only do it after it's so. Oh, sorry guys, I'm sorry. It'll stay up for a second, but then it gets tired of me waiting, so you hear me slamming it down all the time. Sorry. All right, so you just top stitch this on here. Try and keep your zipper coil straight. Mine's so big, it's gonna push out of the way a little bit and be a little hard for me to keep it straight. I'm gonna run my foot along the coil. I'm pulling the pocket lining right here. You see that right here? I have 1 million sliders, yep. But they're like, I have them like, I metered them out when I sold the zipper coil so that I had like so many per X inches of zipper, so. Yeah, me too, Jalen. They're really good. I listen to those all the time. Do you like the ones with Jim Dale or what's his name? I haven't heard the other one. That he's kind of famous actor. I have the Jim Dale ones. I haven't heard the others. Ooh, Heather, your costume's coming along. That's awesome. The Handmaid's Tale is it's based on a best-selling book with the same title. It's just about a futuristic, kind of bleak possibility of existence, but the TV show doesn't follow the book quite as closely, is what I've been told. I haven't read the book. It's interesting. For me, that series is interesting. Like, how did it get here? How did it get here? You know. All right, so then there's your zipper. See, my white thread is poking on the through because I used a cream on top and black on the bottom. So now you have your pocket here. Now, because this pocket is going to exist between the layers of fabric, you don't even need to make this pretty. You just need it all closed. You can serge it if you want, but you really don't need to. So I keep spinning it around. I find it's kind of like, it's not plum. It's positively dark. Yes, it's more than kind of bleak, Eliza. But I feel like it's really the characters and their stories are really good, and I feel like there's very much some parallels to today, so I find that part interesting. You know? Yeah, exactly, Heather. I was trying to be nice. See, look at this. Look at how off this is. Why? Is it off grain? There we go. That's better. I just stretched it. This isn't pre-washed. Yeah, right, Heather? Why especially living in Georgia? Is that where it takes place? Is that where it takes place? All right, so now you're gonna sew the perimeter of your pocket, and you're just gonna move your bag out of the way here. Why did I pin it on that side? I'll just unpin it. I'm gonna start by changing my thread. I'll just change my bobbin real quick to match, since that's about as easy. Ooh, I barely have any bobbin. My other one's done though, so I'll finish this one out. And then we'll go back to black. So. Yeah, right? It's so interesting. It's a Hulu. It's only available on Hulu, Eliza. That is kind of the tricky part about that series. All right, so you want to sew your pocket around the perimeter. Go right through the teeth. We'll give you more reinforcement. Turn your corner up here. Just make sure you keep all this nice and flat, this pocket. Like this. I'm kind of like doing this little motion to make sure it all stays lined up. Is it Margaret Atwood? It's Margaret Atwood is the author. Wait. Right? Yeah, I know, Nancy. I know. Yeah, it actually might be on Amazon Prime, but you may have to pay for it. I'm not sure. You could do a free trial of Hulu, Eliza. Yeah. You could do a free trial and binge watch it. Oh, okay, kids. Yeah. All right. Here you go. See, here's your pocket now. Look at that. So yeah, your tape is raw in here, but it's not going to make a difference for this bag. If you want to elevate your sewing skills, you can always put the zipper in the seam allowance, and it's a totally different thing. You got it for 99 cents a month. Margaret Atwood. Okay, great. Ah, that's cool. All right. What's next? We're going to now assemble our perimeter of the bag, and this actually I'm gonna do the straps right now. This is the next part here. So let's see here. I have to think about this. Can I do it with all of this on here now, or should I do it just to the back? All right, so let's see here. So I have notched my bag right here and right here. It tells you the amount, I think, in the instructions, and that is where the little triangle dealy bobs get lined up. So is American Horror Story a horror story? Is it scary? One of the girls that I play games with, she was telling me last night that she is watching that on Netflix right now. And I was like, I have friends that watch it. I don't want this. I want all of my findings. And for her, she doesn't like it when the story goes to demons. And I just always find it really interesting, like what it is that bugs us, you know? What scares us? All right, so we have... So here's my zipper pull. I have a zipper pull for him. I'm going to switch the black of this onto here. So I'm getting all my hardware here. And I just want y'all to know that I find sewing the hardware confusing too. So, all right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these little triangles. So I very much fussy cut my triangles. So this one goes like, it goes like this, right? Yeah, like this. Okay. So this long edge right here, it gets folded right here, and then the edge right here goes into the seam. Actually, it goes like this. Sorry. Because you need this cut edge up, okay? Yeah. I could do two sliders against each other, Mata, but I don't have a reverse slider, meaning not the kind of reverse slider that goes on the back, but the kind that goes the other direction. You know what I mean? So you'd have to have a slider that goes one way and then one that goes the other way, because otherwise you just have two going the same way. So, and it wouldn't help. I'm thinking it through. I've thought about this before. All right, so if you have this little guy, what I had to do was take that triangle pattern piece and then I drew a picture on it. I fiddled with it. It was a little confusing to me. And I did Dobby on one side, and let's see, who did I do on the other side? Harry. I did Harry and Dobby because, you know, friends. Lisa, right? So this, you don't have to do this view, but I do like this little hit on the back of, you know, pop of color right here. It'll really show up, you know. So from the right side, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I'll show you what I mean too. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work with the sliders I have. I know what you're talking about. But all my sliders, they all point the same way. Oh, I see what you're saying. I could insert it. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. I'll do that on the top of the bag. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Why doesn't it work? Why didn't it work when I did it for something else, though? All right, so I line this little... If it helps you, you can, you know, notch this right here. And we'll notch this right here. Just remember which is your right side if you fussy cut the heck out of it like I did with your little picture. I'm going to line up the webbing right there on that notch. I'm going to use the D-ring like this. If it makes it easier to handle these, you can sew these first like this and just have them ready to go. So they're one little unit like this. These are the slides. Okay. So then you're going to line that up like this. And then you're going to sew it into the seam. And I think actually I'm going to sew mine down first, and then I'm going to put it in the seam because I kind of want to reinforce it. The other thing you can do is, here we go, Mata. You watched the new Sabrina? Really? Eliza, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so one thing I like is if you make this a little extra long and you put it past your seam allowance like this. I didn't really make mine extra long, so we'll just wing it. And then you leave, what? Oh, I ran out of thread. Okay, we'll just switch back to black. I need some water. I don't have any over here. I just wanted, no, I'm gonna switch back to cream. I want to top stitch my thing and I want it to be white. Gosh darn it. Thread changes. All right, let's do this again. So here's my little notch right there. I'm kind of a little bit away from the notch because of this thickness. I'm gonna stick that past the seam allowance a little bit. Tack it on there. Now I'm gonna fold it over. Line up all these edges. Sew my 1/4 inch seam, and I'm gonna sew this a few times. Because remember, your webbing wants to unravel. All right, so now we have the slide. This is called a loop. When you're going to buy this, hopefully the language that you see, these are called loops. They can also be called loop blocks. This is a 3-bar slider. There's a lot of confusing language out there. So the reason I want that to extend past, and I would even do more, is then you could stitch around it. You know? You could stitch it kind of like we did on the webbing strap. Just reinforce it, you know? Like that. Better to do it now than fix a backpack someone brings back to you later. So there's that one. So that's this side of the bag right there. You could even interface these. That probably would have been a good idea. All right, let's do the same thing. We'll tack it down and we'll extend it a little past the seam allowance. Just tack it and now we'll enclose it. Reinforce it, and you just pull this out like this. Get this corner a little better. Okay. Now this is my right side. And so we'll top stitch on this side. I don't back stitch at the seam allowance because it's just going to get enclosed anyway. Yeah, you could even do more of the webbing to stick in here and then stitch a box around it. Whatever. Bye, Eileen. You did, Mata? How come? Huck pack. All right, so there's our little slides or loops. All right, let's switch over to black thread now. This is going pretty quick. I mean, we have the top. That zipper is really easy as well because you just sew right sides together and put the zipper in a seam allowance. We know how to do that. And then the back's almost done right now. The back, the hard part about the back is getting confused about the straps. I'm going to do the most confusing part about the straps I'm about to do. And it took me years to know it off the top of my head. All right, this is the little handle. I'll set that right there. So when you're doing these straps, these are I think 36 inches long. The black strap unraveled. Yep, it'll happen. You mean, oh, the black strap. Yeah, exactly. Really, kids? That's hilarious. I'm going to tack this on here right now just because it's so satisfying to do. Dobby! Such a good place to be with friends. Alright, so when you're doing your straps and you're using one of these, the first thing you're going to do, you don't have to, this isn't the confusing part, is just sew it to the middle right here. Okay? And you really want to reinforce this, so you're going to fold it under. You need enough space to get past, like alongside your loop here. And I like to enclose this raw edge in this stitching right here. So I want the edge where this raw edge is right here. I want to be able to get my machine to the right of that right there. Like this. And I like to, see that my machine's getting hung up on there. I like to sew around all four sides of this. We'll come back and do our back cat. All right, so now we have that. And clean up your stitching right here on the back. Okay. Set that aside. That's right, Hallery. Ex-Hallery. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. You can tell me. I'll try and remember. That's hilarious, kids. Your dog's thick. All right, same thing. So try and fold back about the same amount so that your straps don't start getting two different lengths. You don't have to stress too much about this because the straps are adjustable. And people aren't symmetrical, so they can adjust it to where it fits good. Most kids never adjust it. I mean, honestly, you guys, I could have done a lot better with these Harry Potter fabrics. I'm just using what I have in my stash. I could have shopped specifically for this bag and really made it cute, like even cuter, I think. But I think when it's all sewn and done together, it'll be fine, you know. All right, so now you got your two straps, right? Here you go. I like to cover up my little tail here. So now you're just going to, let's get this one out of the way. It just wants to slide off the table here. All right, so this end right here is going to end up sewing up here into the seam, okay? So what you want to do is go through your loop right here, because you need it attached to the strap there. And then I put it so where this side is facing up, and then I go over it like this through the 3-bar slider, both sides. And now it's ready. So now you have an adjustable strap without a loose end of strap, okay? Because you know there's those straps that have a, you know, it's like sticking out, the tail is sticking out here, but this is adjustable without doing that. And now I'm going to stitch it down on the side of the center of the notch there, right there, okay? So now you have the strap so it can be longer. or shorter. And I shorten it all the way up when I'm sewing things like this so that it stays out of my way. And the strap will kind of break in a little bit. All right, so yeah, what's frustrating, Eileen? You got your hearts order. Yay! What are you gonna make? That's exciting. I'm so glad you used the discount code too. That'll be happy for them. All right, so here it is again. So I put this wrong side up right here just because I like to cover it. It's just one of those best practices things. And then I stick the strap in the loop over through the 3-bar slider. And then I anchor it down. So there we go. You have your 2 loops. You have your 3-bar sliders, and then you have your loops down there. It's fully adjustable, right? So, I know, me too, Lisa. That's awesome, kids. Sounds cute, though. So you know how my bag is starting to tear? The thing to note about where it's tearing is on the strap itself, it's not pulling out of the seam, okay? So I think these are tricky. Like using webbing is really tricky because you only have a 1/4 inch seam allowance inside the seam. And so the thing I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna sew a box around these straps so that it's a little flat on the top of the backpack, just a little bit. It shouldn't affect anything fit-wise or the way it feels. Just an experiment. We'll do a little diagonal thing, maybe out to here. Even though my seam allowance, my back stitch was going to be in the seam allowance, I'm still going to back tack that one. All right, and so then we have this one right here, this diagonal line I want to do. You can't see what I've stitched and what I haven't stitched, so I'm kind of restitching just to get past to this point over here. I don't think you can overstitch this. I really don't. So now I have this like stitched pretty good down. You see that? And now you have your handle here. So one way to check to see if your handle, did I lose my bag over here? Where's my bag? Where's my bag? Oh, there it is right here. Okay, so lay this one underneath, line up your bag like this, and now you can check when you put your strap on the bag that you're getting the same length. You know what I mean? Kind of not lined up well, is it though? It should be right here. But that's supposed to be the center. Oh, that's a little better. I guess it's wider down there than up here, so maybe that's it. Maybe I should have followed the original drills. No. Gigi. Exactly. So let's see. So this one gets sewn in the seam like this. I feel like it could be a little longer. I'm going to get a longer piece. So the last of my 1-inch webbing. Probably shouldn't have sold all that. That's something I use. Okay. So let's see here. I must not have lined mine up well. But remember, I did a little bit bigger or different seam allowance on the other one. So I'm going to make sure, because it feels nice when your handles line up. I kind of want to do this, you know, stitch it down like that, so that it's not just in the binding, like that, maybe. Oh, I know what I can do. All right, so let's see here. Let's, I'm going just to line up my edges here like this, like this. And I'm going to do a little bit more like this, so that when it turns this way, so then it'll be bound like this, and when it's being pulled up, it'll have that extra reinforcement, which I'll probably, let's see, can I do that? It's tricky. I mean, I feel like, honestly, maybe just keeping it out of the seam would be the most secure, you know? Like, just not even putting it in the seam at all. Webbing is kind of funny. I'm gonna take it out. I'm doing experiments in this bag. Because then if I ever see him, I can look at the bag. He won't even know it. I'll look at it and check it out and see how it's wearing. Do you ever do that with things you've made and given to people? See how things are going. You don't want them to be like, oh, can you fix this? But at the same time, you kind of want to know, you know? You kind of want to know. Remember, I have a seam allowance here and I need to be able to sew it when it comes time. So, you know, we need to be a little cognizant of that. I'm going to do it right here. I think I can get past that. I'm cutting it close, you guys. Oof. I might wait to stitch this after I'm bound. Then I'll do it. Yeah, I know, I want to see her fabric too, but I think she was between patients and she probably has to get back to work. So we'll have to let her know, Heather. Okay. So now we have our back. Oh, I forgot I had my lining on there. I thought I was like, oh my gosh, you guys. I thought I had my lining off of there the whole time. Wow. I even said, now remember, I was about to say, now remember my lining is not on there. Oh, well, that's okay. It's just reinforcement. And it's at the top of the bag. You're not going to see it. It'll be okay. But I would have pulled this back. Been a while since I sewn one. All right, so now you have your back, you have your front. Now you need your sides. Let me cut a zipper and we'll test Mata's theory. Okay, I just missed my chair. I have two sliders here. So these narrow pieces are your, just go on either side of your zipper. Of course, I dropped a slider. But I do, oh, here it is. I'm just going to show you my big old bin of sliders. So you just need it to be as long as this. Like that. Like that. And then, yeah, you're right, Mata. Let's see. That'll work. Now I need 2 sliders, but I do have, I have more than one stitch. Yeah. Right. There we go. Thanks, Malta. Thanks for reminding me I could do that. Okay, I'm gonna iron the interfacing for this. All right. So I think I did a black for the outer of the bag, and then the owl is the lining. I didn't have it showing on the outside. There's not necessarily a right or wrong side to my fabric like that I can tell, but it feels differently. That's why I'm arranging it. This is, I think, a 10-ounce canvas or 8-ounce, something like that. It's not very heavy. You know, I just thought, I saw a comment that the steam is actually good for fusing interfacing. I've never turned it off, but wasn't it one of you guys that told me that that's okay? Nancy, are you serious? 9 3/4 is the platform at King's Cross Station. It's situated between platform 9 and platform 10. And that's the platform that they get onto for the Hogwarts Express. So obviously, like, there's no such thing as a 9 3/4 in the Muggle world. Muggle meaning non-magic. All right, there we go. Let me get a drink of water, you guys. Poor Nancy. I'm just going to let the chat handle you. All right. So these, I'm just putting the canvas behind them. I will admit, she might have you do this in a different layered order. And I'm not saying mine's better at all. I just did it this way. Chat James Nancy. Truly a muggle. We still love you, Nancy, but can I send you the first audiobook for free? Because I can do that to anybody I want. Okay, so I'm going to treat these as one. Like these 2 pieces. So here's one side. And here's the other side. You're more of a sci-fi geek? That's awesome. I've been trying to get into sci-fi. All right, so I put my zipper face down. This is the side that's going to face out on the bag. So I have 9 3/4 around the bottom part and then the black on the top. And so I'm going to line up my zipper tape edge to the edge of the right side of that. And then my owls also right sides to the back so that when it's all sewn like this, it'll be like that on the inside of the bag. Okay. I made my zipper a little bit longer than necessary, so it wouldn't be shorter. You do, yeah. I think the trick with this is making sure these still stay lined up, your fabric pieces. My zipper's a little longer because that's the tricky part, getting them to stay all lined up. Giving yourself some, maybe some notches along the way so you can make sure, because my top is probably going to like scooch forward towards me. And I might even like do part of it, like right now, and then pick up and then start from this end. You just got to make sure then your zipper is in the right spot. Because see, look at that. Because I ironed the interfacing and because the owls and the canvas are less confined, they're going to be a little harder to squeeze in there. Let's see if I can do it. You can tell me the 3 Laws of Robotics. What's that from? I've read Dune. I've read a bunch of sci-fi, but not much. A bunch for me. I've been trying to get into it the last few years, and I've been having trouble. Like, there are some genres of sci-fi just I'm not into, so I've been trying to find my genre, you know? Like, I don't like big space battles, but I do like the space stuff, you know? I just don't like space fights. Big, like, long, drawn-out battles between spaceships. I know that's very specific. The lining to the lining, well, let's see. Wait. So the owls and the 9 3/4 are a twill. The reason I'm doing all the extra canvas and interfacing is just to make the bag feel really like good. So that's all. She recommends it. It works really well. It worked really good on my other one. That's awesome. I sew and know things. Okay, so this is one side, and I'll wait to top stitch that in a second. So now you just need to do the same thing. So now when I did this one, I fussy cut the top. So if you do that and the pattern needs to continue top to bottom, you need to kind of pay attention to that. It can, you know, mine's a little off. You see that lines there, you know. And I think on the inside I just used the canvas. I won't have to worry about that on this one. So this is my right side, but I will like line up the canvas straight across from this one here. You don't want to just be like, oh, I'll just trim that extra off, because remember, this whole thing you're about to construct, the sides of the bag, you're going to make a loop with it, like a continuous loop, and it's got to fit on those rectangles we already sewed, right? Really? Have you read the Star Trek? Are the Star Trek books... Wait, are the Star Trek books, is Star Trek based on books, or are the books based on Star Trek? Like Star Wars? Yeah, right? Exactly. I like space adventures. I liked the, is it Leo Scalzi who writes the kind of like, they're kind of offbeat. I like those. Leo Scalzi? He had the one with the aliens that like came to Earth. They looked like humans and no one knew they'd been existing, and they really wanted to be like, look, we really want to reveal ourselves, but we stink. Like, we literally stink so bad that humans won't like us. So we need like a marketing campaign. So they hired an agent. It's Agent to the Stars. That's what it's called, the book. And it's funny and clever, and I read like 2 or 3 of his. They were pretty good. And I've read some of the classics. I've tried reading Ursula K. Le Guin, and it was a little over my head. Like, when you start getting into like all the different names and stuff like that, I'm like, ooh, time for an audiobook, because the audiobook's a little easier for me. I have to be able to either write a family tree of everybody, or I have to rename them. Heather just saw you haven't read the Harry Potter comment, I'm pretty sure. All right, I'm fiddling with this because I'm trying to figure out how I want my owls to be situated. So I'm just trying to make sure. I want them like this, which means I want it like this. Yeah, like that. Okay. All right, so got all my layers here. I'm just lining them up straight across from one another right here, keeping all these edges lined up. And that worked pretty good when I started from one end and then I finished from the other end, you know? So I'm just doing the same thing here, lining this up like this, like that. Like this. Get a little bit going and then I will flip it. Do a little more. They're shaming you again. Oh no. Nancy, I don't know how to save you except send you the first Harry Potter book and then you're going to have to write a book report. That's right, Eliza. It's true. Well, Star Wars, the Star Wars books were based on the movies, right? They're not based on the book. The Star Wars books didn't come before the movies, I'm pretty sure. Did they? Am I confusing that with something else? Because I wanted to read those, and then when I learned that they were based on the movies, I was a little less, you know... Keep trying, Nancy. How could like billions of people be wrong, Nancy? They're really like complicated. Like as a kid you can follow along and it doesn't have to be complicated, but as an adult you really get some of the like complicated like storylines and ties to other books. They're really good that way. I love that kind of complication. You don't have to catch it, but if you do, you're just like, whoa, this woman's a genius, you know? I've read Lord of the Rings like twice and listened to them once. And so I feel like I've, you know, paid my dues a little bit in the fantasy world. I've read a lot of The Wheel of Time. Yeah, the books are based on the movies, exactly. Yes. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to top stitch this. So I'm going to make sure I'm pulling and pulling, keeping all these edges over here lined up. You actually could stitch these edges all together. You could do that. It'll make it easier to top stitch the top. As long as you're confident you've been maintaining your seam allowances and you cut it out all pretty good, you can just line up all these edges, top stitch them together. That'll help you when you go to bind it. Anything that helps with that part is probably appreciated, right? I kind of like Chronicles of Narnia are pretty good. I like the world. So Nancy, tell us some of your sci-fi books. What do you recommend? You can stay. I really loved the Lord of the Rings movies, and I used to watch them every November. It was like my tradition in the family, and the family was like, yeah, it's our tradition. All right, right now I'm actually going to stitch across my teeth right here just so I don't make any new mistakes and unzip my zipper, you know, right off the edge there. But, I mean, you know, the purists are going to say, exactly, Eileen. The purists are going to not like the movies as much as the books. All right, so now I can confidently like pull on this, you know, and top stitch it. But I will tell you guys, I've actually visited Hobbiton in New Zealand where they filmed it, and it made me cry. It was so good. My husband has this amazing picture of me, and I'm like right in front of him, and I turn around, and the smile on my face says it all. Like everybody sees that picture is like, oh my God, I was just like in heaven. It was so amazing. Oh, that doesn't look so good right there. Let's fix that. But it's amazing. The way they built that is not a set. It's actual real, all to scale. The whole thing is intact. Like when you see they run between places, like Bilbo run between places, that is all real. It's not cut. It's like you can actually do that. There's an inn, you know, like a pub, and you can order beer and hard cider and not hard things to drink that are only, you can only get them there. It's really fun. I saw someone getting married there. I was like, wow. I don't think we read no one reads Lord of the Rings in high school here, Mata. Maybe a long time ago, but not now. I read a lot of Kurt Vonnegut in high school. I really liked Kurt Vonnegut, but he's not for everybody. He was a little quirky, a little esoteric. But like Slaughterhouse-Five, is it? And Cat's Cradle. Love those books. Yeah, Liza, it's amazing. I totally recommend it. If you ever want to talk to me about it, you want to see pictures, let me know. I will sell you on a vacation to New Zealand. The best part is, Eliza, like their winter's pretty mild if you don't go to the very southern part. And we went in our summer, which is their winter. So it was kind of nice. We didn't live in the heat then. Or did we? We did live in the heat then. So that you know, can make a nice break from the heat. If you're a knitter, you know, you could find all the yarn you want and stuff. We went to the Weta Studios, so that was pretty cool. All right, so now we have our top. What happened there? Look at this. Do you see this? This is, I bet, everywhere I'm hesitating. What's going on with my tension? Huh. I mean, stitches are never going to look good black on the gray. Like, I know that. Like, but, you know, this could look way better. Way better. It looks okay there. I'm gonna get rid of some of this hoo-ha. That's my back tack from when I took that part out. This right here, though, this is inexcusable right here. I don't know what this is, and I don't know why my tension's doing that. See, look at that. It's a loop of fabric, or thread. Can you see that? So, yeah, definitely. Oh, Don Quixote. I read that. You did? Oh, wow. Don't wait to do it as your bucket, though. Oh, Grapes of Wrath. I've read Grapes of Wrath. Positronic Man by Isaac Asimov. Okay. Yeah, Lisa. But read what you want to read. Some of those lists can be really daunting. I think, like, I definitely rely a lot on audiobooks. Where's this at? Isn't this? Oh, it's right here. It's right here. And like that, I read all the Jane Austens that way. I listened to them. They're amazing, you know. And I feel like it helps with the older language that, you know, I'm not as familiar with. It kind of helps, you know, smooth that little, you know, curve of understanding. Because the way they're saying it, if you have a good narrator, it helps to the way they say it helps you understand what they're saying better, you know. But, you know, like the Harry Potter books, I would recommend anyone read those rather than listen to them first. Because, I mean, when you hear Jim Dale, it's like, oh, these people have to be like this. So, yeah, audio is some of them, Lisa. That way it's like, don't make it a chore. Don't make it something like, oh, I have to read these classics. There's some classics I'm like, nope, this should not be a classic, you know. One of the books I need to iron this. One of the books I really like, older classics, is House of Mirth. Have you guys heard of House of Mirth? I really love that one. I'm gonna iron this. I like House of Mirth. It's written by the author who wrote Age of Innocence, which was made into a movie. But I really loved House of Mirth. It is a tragedy, but I hate to admit it. I really like tragedies. Terrible, huh? I don't like watching gloom and doom TV shows and movies. I don't like sensationalizing that kind of thing. I don't, especially like reality TV and stuff. But I do like situations that put someone in a position. I don't like the situation, but I like seeing how characters deal with situations that feel like a no way out, because I like seeing all the different sides and perspectives of the characters dealing with it and what they would do. And there's lots of solutions to the same problem, and I really appreciate seeing that. Platform 9 3/4. Yeah, right? Reading of those is hard. Oh, right, Jan? I'm with you there. I watched those movies and I had to stop. I told my husband I have to stop watching right now. We had to take a break. Those were really. I think it was the Dragon Tattoo one. I don't know what all the titles are. Same with this one other movie. I had to stop watching it too. It was really hard. Edith Wharton. Oh, The Great Gatsby is so bizarre. Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's kind of like, what is going on? It kind of sensationalizes that kind of lifestyle, and is like tortured persona, right? I felt kind of lost in that book. I'm like, I don't really like when in a story I'm like, what's real and what's not real. I don't like trying to figure that out. Oh, this is pieced because I wanted the owls to be right side up. Same with my 9 3/4. Okay, that's right. I forgot about that. I use Audible, Cheyenne. And I'm serious. If any of you want a free book and you want to try out Audible and you don't mind me having your phone number or your email, I can send you a free book. They let me do that infinitely. I have over 300 in my library. Me too, Mata. I do too. Bye, Heather. Have a great weekend. Oh, Dostoevsky. I tried to listen to what's his other major one? Anna Karenina. There's like 4 people with the exact same name in that book, and I was like, okay, I'm out. I tried and tried. Yeah. Great fans. Okay, so this pattern piece is written to be one long rectangle, but I wanted my fabric to be right side up on each side of the bag. So I did it in 2 pieces with the seam allowance. So that's why you see it like this. This is my lining, and this is my outer. And I'm going to top stitch. I'm actually going to top stitch this on either side so it's nice and flat. Like that. Yeah, if any of you ever want, just message me on Instagram or email me if you want to try out Audible. You can have a book. No problem. I've sent Ready Player One to probably 15, maybe 20 people. Even people I hardly knew. I'm like, this is the book I love listening to over and over. It's the one I fall asleep to. I just love it. Yeah, Cheyenne, let me know. Just email me, sosolive@gmail.com, or message me on Instagram or something, and you can give me either your email address or your phone number, and then I can message it to you. I only get to send one book to a person. You can only receive one book from me, so just tell me like if you want a Harry Potter book, or I've been listening to a lot of Leanne Moriarty. She's the one who wrote the book Big Little Lies, the HBO series. All of her books are really good. If you like that kind of more like modern realistic stories, you know. Or I have Lord of the Rings. This is the bottom of my bag on the inside. Okay. So here's the long lining piece that I didn't need to piece together. Yeah, and I think like what you kind of learn with Audible is that the narrator is really important, so you always want to listen to a snippet. The app, there's an app for the phone that works amazing. Hands down, of all the apps I've been using since I've had things, the Audible app is perfect. The books take very little room on your phone as opposed to renting audiobooks from the library, which I've done as well. Those take up more room. So if you have a space issue on your phone, the Audible books take up less space. I probably have 9 books on my phone. I think I have those Outlander books, Lisa. I have a bunch of them. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Cheyenne. Yeah, Ready Player One. I love that book. It is nothing like the movie, in my opinion, in a good way. So, yeah, right, Nancy? I've done that too. I did that also. If you guys want Game of Thrones, I have all the Game of Thrones. Like, I had to listen to those. I tried, you guys. I think I've told you my story, which is almost funny, of the fact that I tried reading Game of Thrones. This was before the series, the movie, the TV series. I tried to read it, and I was like, I can't keep track of who's who. So I ended up, these are going to be my little tabs right here, I think. Do you think red? Let's see. I ended up getting the audiobook. I have a lot of credits, so it was no big deal. Oops. But I tell you, you guys, those books are so complicated that it's the only time I've ever done this, except for Anna Karenina. I did this on this one too, and I still was lost. I never figured out the Anna Karenina one. When I read the wiki on it, I was like, that's what's happening? But that's what I did. I would finish Game of Thrones, the book, whatever book I was on, immediately go to the wiki and read the wiki on the book. But there are wikis on every castle, human, person, White Walker. There's a wiki on every single thing on Game of Thrones. So I would just find the book and the synopsis, and I'm not kidding you guys, at one point, I'm going to tell a spoiler, a big spoiler. I finished reading the book, read the wiki that night in bed, I went right before bed, and I was like, wait, his hand got chopped off? Well, how did I miss that in the book? I had literally just read it, and it was like the last chapter. I was paying attention, and I missed it. And so I read the wiki, and I was like, okay, I probably should listen to the last couple chapters. And then I would listen to the next book. Like, you guys. Yeah, Fire and Ice, exactly, Mata. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that funny, Jan? Come on. I would read the wiki right afterward. And when I watched that show, I had read all the books. I read all of them. And then the series caught up to the books, then passed the books. And I was waiting for certain things to happen that didn't, I'm kind of just debating on this. I have black too. What do you guys think? Maybe not the red, like this is the rest of my bag. I think I'll do black. Don't I have black ribbon? Oh yeah, I have black ribbon. This is I'm using polygrosgrain ribbon. She says to use the webbing. That's a little thick in my opinion. My webbing is a little too thick for that. So I'm gonna cut a couple pieces of the ribbon. I know I'm kind of like lucky and have all these like findings because I had the business. That's why I had them all. All right. The audiobooks of Game of Thrones they're pretty good, but they're not, he changes his voice for the women and it's really annoying. I don't know if anyone else found that to be the case. There we go. So this is, so that when you're pulling your zipper, you have something to grab onto. You like the red tabs? Oh, I already moved on. I'm sorry, Nancy. I felt like it was a little too red for the rest of the bag. All right, now I can trim this. Like that. Now, I'm going to do this so that it's clean finish. So I'm going to do it right sides together like this. The first one is pretty obvious. So I'm going to line it all up, right sides together, push my threads into the seam here. Have it lined up? I think so. I feel like I can line it up a little better down there. A lot of layers. Look at all those layers. I always want to make sure your seam allowances are good on these parts because this is when you're setting yourself up for that binding step too. And now pull it back like this and top stitch it. Try and keep it out of the camera. It's kind of awkward. Ugh. All right, now you're going to do the same on the other side. So you're going to put your outer one to it like this. Get all your threads in the seam allowance like this. And then you're going to have to kind of flip it around. See? Let me try and get it less confusing looking. So I put this now right sides together as well. Mata. Yeah, I kind of forget that part too, Mata, honestly, about Frodo's finger. Yeah, at least I know. I know I liked him except for the fact that like Especially, what was the youngest sisters? Begins with an L. I want to say Lyra, but that's from the Golden Compass series. Her voice, that he made her sound like an old lady. You know? Okay, so now we have our loop. Let me show you. So we have our loop, right? So is our bag like this. Okay, we have a two-way zipper thanks to Mata. Like that. Aria. Nothing like Lyra. Yeah, it was kind of like Lyra. All right, so now the last step is the binding. I think I'm going to sew this all down so that it's nice and not fussy at all. Just this perimeter edge. Setting yourself for, like, the less you have to fuss with junk, the better on this next step. Thanks for following. Melty. That's cute. I am also streaming on YouTube, so I am talking to a bunch of people on there, just so you know. Oh, Anne McCaffrey. I haven't read those, Kevin. The Tower and the Hive series. Oh, cool. Okay. Nancy likes that one too. Ooh, this is a little bit, may have to ease this a little bit. We already stitched it on this one. Thanks, Melty. Pretty much here Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays live sewing. Usually today is part 2 of something, but we did our project on Thursday all in one. So I thought, I already have this bag cut out, and it's such a great bag. I'm making the Noodlehead backpack by a new, it's called The Making Backpack by Noodlehead. A lot of words there. That's a great bag. I've made a few. I've had this one cut out since last spring. It's not like me to have a project sitting around staring at me, so you guys are helping me out. Oh, okay, Dragon Rider. I think I have read one of those. All right, I'm just going to stitch this one. I'm going to make sure I get it nice and flat here. No bubbles. No bubbles, right? It's kind of like the no torquing thing. And I'm usually sewing garments, but I've been a bag maker for a while, so they're really, the best part about bags is they don't have to fit you, right? It's so nice. Yeah, me too, Nancy. I love talking about books. All right, so we're ready there. This one, we stitched mostly all the way around, so let's stitch it a little bit more. Let's stitch this top part here. I used to be kind of a brat about things like this and be like, I don't need to tack it first, and then I get into trouble, you know? If you want to use fewer pins, tack it first, and this is what I mean by tacking it. Just give it a little stitch. Set yourself up to succeed, you know? Be nice to yourself. I think the struggle in doing things like this when you have this many layers and this many thicknesses is getting all these layers lined up, right? Because you can see I have a little bit of misalignment right here and here. Oops, I just lost that. And then, you know, keep it nice and tidy and trim it, especially because we're about to do the binding, the last step. And you just don't, you want to fuss as little as possible. The canvas is really what shreds. Canvas always does that. I like canvas a lot, but I will admit it can be a little fiddly to work with because of the shredding. If you guys end up using the wax canvas, you're not going to have that problem. So, oh, I read that, Lisa. That's a good audiobook. Did you listen to that one, Lisa? The Lies of Loch Lamora? Yeah, Nancy, you started this. Nice, Nancy. I'm glad. I just dropped this on the other side of my machine, so I'll put it back. Dang, I should have picked up the 4 other things down there. Look at that. Oh, you guys, lint lava. I sweep, I promise, but behind my machine and under that table, maybe not as often as I could. Okay, black shows everything. When I was a new mom and I had to fly somewhere with her, she was 3 months old, and I was like, I'll wear black on the plane, nothing will show. Oh my gosh. Everywhere Cricket's face had touched me, there was like a snail stripe, you know? Don't wear black. All right, so this is the front of your bag. And let's see, do I have a center point? So I would add a center point between this stretch here, because this is going to be what you line up to the center point here. It'll really help. I'm going to do it pretty obviously right there. I did the little like corner, and then I did it into it just in case I end up trimming the corner off in the seam allowance. I want to be able to see it. Line this one up. Do the same thing over here. You can see that really well. And do it on the bottom as well. I haven't listened to the others. I lately have been also listening to The God of War. Oh, this one I don't need to notch because we have a center seam. Great. That is a book based on a video game. And then there's also the Witcher series, which I don't remember what that book's called, but the video games, The Witcher, are based on those books, and those are actually pretty good. Oh, glitter, yeah. So you know what, Hillary, I have like, I feel like people are like, dang, you're kind of crazy, lady. But I have a few rules in my shop that glitter is not allowed, minky, fake fur, or burlap, none of that. No, I am, that stuff, like, that is the gift that keeps on giving. For months, you're going to find that crap in your sewing studio. All right, so where's my binding? So I think I may have enough to do the binding in the Deathly Hallows. So we're going to give it a go. I'm going to wind this back up. If I don't cut the piece off first, I might just have just enough. And so my machine has a spool holder at the back here, and that's what I set my binding thing on. You don't need that. It's just nice. You looking for the lint lava one? It's lint lava. We used to have serious lint lava in the old space, didn't we? All right, so you're gonna do this right sides together. Now, I know that it's really tempting to sew it on first before before you attach the binding. The reason I don't like doing that is because say you sew all the way around, right? You got it prepped and you're like, okay, now I can put the binding on. The problem is you're not going to probably sew exactly where that first pass was in the seam allowance. And then you might end up like maybe like this, you know, like what if that was over here and you did your next one and your stitch will show, you know? So... So, you could, you know, if you're a little nervous, you could kind of walk it around and see like, all right, am I going to get into any troubles here? You're going to walk it on the seam line, right? Pivot, you know, here, and then you can kind of see like, is it going to be a little tricky? Might be. Look at, there's my center. Let's see. I didn't do this very good, but still. There's my center. There's my center right there. Let's make sure that's the center. It's 12 and 3, yeah, 12 and a half, 12 and 3/4, so 6 3/8, right about here. Actually, I'll just put a pin there. It's pretty hard to cut through that. There's my center. And then I have my center right there. Right, Lisa? I know. I was thinking the same thing. Like, someone write that down for me. The Tower series by Anna McCaffrey. I'm going to look at that one. All right, so I'm going to walk it around again. Now, there's not a whole lot you can do if it's not going to line up. If you're like, ooh, this is looking a little bit like it may not, or it might be a struggle. The only things you can do are trimming off of this piece or trimming off of this piece, right? And those little logistics of like the three-dimensional shaping of the bag are kind of confusing. I will admit that, but not impossible at all. And I've definitely learned a few things that I know will work. So let's just see. Let's walk it a little better this time. You know? We can even be kind of pinpoint specific right here. Look at that. Pivot. Keep it on the line here. It's still not 100% accurate, but it's going to help. And pivot. Look at that. It's like 2 inches different right now. It's a 2-for-1 live stream, exactly. Right, Nancy? That is so funny. I'm still finding glitter from when Rayanne sewed something for a client of hers in my shop, and I'm not even in the same shop anymore. She would think that was so funny. All right, I'm gonna give it a try. I know, like, ooh, it's a little dicey that it looks like it's not gonna fit, but I have faith. I have faith. Okay, so let's start at the bottom. We'll line up our center right there, like this. You know, I could be nicer to myself and start with the lighter weight back. Let's do that. The front is much thicker. Let's see, do we have a center? We just need a center mark on this one right here. And let's make sure we've stitched around our perimeter on this. Can't believe I didn't realize I was stitching through the lining then when I was like very decidedly thought I wasn't. Why is that wanting to be eased? It's okay, right? Yeah. It's a lot of layers to wrangle. You got your canvas, lining, outer canvas, and Pellon or interfacing. You could even do this in just unlined wax canvas if you wanted. You can just do a pretty binding, you know? Yeah, glitter is the reason. Won't the slime eat the glitter? What slime? Nerf gun. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right? The slime should eat the glitter. Maybe you can make it a game. I used to make it a game. I'm really sorry for the people that are animal rights people. But I used to, and I promise I never harmed, no one harmed anything. But I would pay my daughter and her friend to pull snails out of the garden for a chocolate chip a piece. And then I would relocate all of the snails. I didn't kill them, but I relocated them somewhere else, not in my yard. And I would give them a chocolate chip. You know, like if they pulled out 22 snails and I was only paying them 22 chocolate chips, that was a deal, you guys. The snail struggle was real. I loved my dahlias. All right. Let's see. I'm going to read her thing and just make sure she doesn't tell you a certain tip that I'm going against, because I would like it to be as easy for you as possible to do this part. For me, I like when it's a fussy piece like this. This is the one I want to manipulate. This one's a square and this one's not. This one's a rectangle, right? It's a loop. So when I need to pivot, I like having the piece on top that I need to pivot. But I'm just going to see what she says. She does the same thing. And then she shows you where she clips into the corner to make the pivot easier. It is. The reason I stopped making and selling bags, well, Chicken Boots was my business and it was doing really, really good, Cheyenne. It was awesome. I had it for 9 or 10 years, I think. But there was a fire here and I didn't lose anything in the fire, you guys. Like, it's nothing about that. But between the fire, which took out my sewist studio, and a small factory that was doing our easier to sew items, closing their doors without telling me, I decided that production, I couldn't sew everything myself. We were sewing 10,000 things a year. I'm not exaggerating. And so it was either scale back to a really small amount that would have been really frustrating for my customers because they obviously didn't like it when I didn't have something in stock, and I didn't like not having things in stock. I always tried to have everything and every fabric in stock, which was hard. And I firmly believed in that. I don't really believe in the whole like I'm going to make 4, put them up for sale, and 200 people try and buy them. I don't really like that kind of like that kind of fever. It's a really stressful life to live under, that fever. And so I made that decision where I was just like, I just told my assistant when she lost her studio, because I had lost the factory a few months before, and she and I made a game plan and we were going to make it work. We were just going to discontinue. We discontinued a couple of things and we were going to do them on a limited edition basis instead, occasionally. And then we figured out a game plan and we scaled back a little bit. And we had it. We were doing it. It was working. And then she lost her studio in the fire. And she lost everything. And I just said, you know what? You do you. You deal with what you need to deal with. She was like, I don't even know if I'm going to sew. Like everything was just, you know, it was just really, it's been really hard. Post-fire here has been really hard for people. And she just wasn't sure. She didn't even have a place to live, you know? So I just let her do that, and I just was like, you do that. I'm going to put Chicken Boots on hold. I'm going to focus on the live stream. And then I decided to make all the Chicken Boots patterns available for home sewing sales. So that's what I'm working on now. So that's why, Cheyenne. I love doing it. I love managing a factory. I don't like promoting a product line. I will tell you. All right, when you start your binding, fold over a little piece. I always do this. I'm pretty sure she does too, and she says it in the instructions. Just fold over the first bit. You do not need to miter or piece your binding together. And I'm just lining up my edge, and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to get a 1/4 inch away from the under the bag here, 1/4 inch away from that edge. I can see it. And then I'm going to pivot. So make sure all your straps kind of stay out of the way and stuff like that. She's doing great, Elaine. She did find a different job that was part-time, which is really great for them because now she can focus on rebuilding their life because he had a full-time job. And, you know, that being a fire survivor is a full-time job. Like dealing with all the paperwork, appointments, things like that, finding a home. All of our house prices skyrocketed here. We already live in a college town where there was already very few places to rent. So, you know, people are staying with friends and stuff. It took them a while to find a home, but it really needs to be fixed up, like, badly. So that's what she's doing in their free time. They're redoing a house they didn't plan on redoing. So, you know, but I see, you know, like, she was really, really, really creative as well. I see occasionally she does something creative, which is great, you know. So hopefully they'll get to move into their house in the near future. They're still not in a home. They're still staying with friends and, you know, rebuild their lives. But, you know, that's down here. That's not up where they lived. All right, so I'm going to actually clip this spot right here so that I know that's my non-negotiable spot. Like, you really want to make sure you keep your centers straight across from each other. Otherwise, your bag will go, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, Terry, I'm so sorry. Oh, no. You're opening the wine now. You do that. Not that, I don't think you should sew after that, though. Might not help. All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to, well, let's look at this, too, actually. Let's trim this down a little bit because we are a little far away from our edge here. I should have done this a while ago. I just met a woman yesterday at that sewing thing that, see, now I lost my center, that moved here 2 months before the fire last year. I was like, wow, what a mess you walked into. And they had left the area they were in because they were retiring, and it was also a fire survivor area, and they were just like fatigued from it. So I did not lose my mark. Why did I think I lost my mark? I wasn't trimming on that edge. Okay, so let's walk this to here. All these little messy edges, I'm going to enclose that in the seam. I know I'll barely catch it, but it'll be fine. Here. Okay, no problem. See, sometimes walking it with all these thicknesses doesn't give you an accurate portrayal, so no need to panic. Right now, what I'm trying to do is make sure I get all of my layers into the seam allowance since it's so small. I love 1/4 inch seams, but you know, it can be a little limiting. You need to with the binding, you know. You're not cussing, you're not cussing. She's taking a break, having some wine. Get all these little start and stops in the seam. It'll look nicer. I really hate my black stitching on the owls, especially where my bobbin doesn't look that great. I keep meaning to have the mechanic come and tune up my machine now that I've had it a year. I keep telling you guys that. You're sick of hearing me, I'm sure. Alright, so I'm going up to that 1/4 inch away from the bag body. Pivot. I just kind of... Oh, I ran out of bobbin thread. What the heck? Guys. I'm slacking. Sorry. I barely even got started. It's always easier the second time though, right? What the heck? All right. Pivot. Now, she shows you in the instructions to clip this right here, so you can do that right now. You can just clip right up to the needle like that. It'll make the pivot a lot easier. I don't find this too hard to pivot, but like say on, oh, I was going to say on the pie cushion, but you guys aren't making those. I'm making those lately. I'm making lots of those. I'm going to record the video for that, I think, after our stream today. All right. Coming around. I'm not trying to pull anything, but I will tell you, I am slightly pulling the binding like this as I apply it. That'll make the last step a lot easier. It's the step that everyone dreads, which is the fun part. Someday you'll say that too. It really is. When no one's gonna see this. It's the inside of the bag, right? No one's gonna really see. It's a really great opportunity to hone your binding skills when no one's gonna see it. Look at that. It lined up perfectly. Okay. So. Trying to enclose all these little edges and threads. I sometimes kind of do a sweep in between the layers. Make sure. You need to be aware, like if you have pieces like this that aren't lining up all flush, make sure you're not leaving, like this isn't dropping below, because you wouldn't want to not get that in your seam, right? Maybe the bobbin was the problem, Barbara. Exactly. Yeah, Nancy, that's awesome. That's always my idea with gaming, but it's awful. It doesn't work. I'm always like, maybe if I relax, I won't clutch the controller so bad and panic. But honestly, my eyesight doesn't get better. So, and I'm a real lightweight, like 3 sips. I'm like, okay, I'm relaxed. All this messy stuff is going to look so great in a minute because it's all going to be enclosed in there. Okay, let's kind of give it a gander here. Let's walk it up to our corner. Because when you start getting to this final spot, it means this is when you can start having a little bit of an issue. So say I cannot get this to this edge, right? It's looking a little iffy. Like for some reason, this one is a little tighter. I could back this up and try and pull it a little bit and maybe ease it in a little bit better. But I will tell you that if it's not very much and you're only having it a little bit, you can like see where it wants to go right here. You could do that. Like, yes, I know that is not perfectly accurate, you guys, but I would rather you be like, oh, the whole thing doesn't work and I need to take it all out. I need to start over again. You're probably not going to notice your bag being 1/4 of an inch shorter or narrower on one edge, okay? So you can, the extra bump that doesn't fit. If you have extra, then your extra, I have to think about that. What do I do when I have extra? Then you might do some easing. You may back it up a little bit and ease it. You can even put in, you know, like when we ease a sleeve into an armhole, you can even put an easing stitch in and kind of ease it. Because when it's all turned, right? Like remember, like this is what I'm working on right now. You see how this actually wraps around that bound edge in there, that thickness? If you eased this, if this was the long part, and it was, you had to ease it in there, those little gathers aren't going to show. They're actually going to fold gracefully over that binding edge. So I'm going to pull a little bit. I'm going to tug this a little bit. Make sure I'm not pulling the underside. I'm going to get close and see, can I make it? Can I make it? Can I make it? Not quite. I'm going to clip my little corner here. Find the center bit right here. It's kind of surprising since the others matched so nicely. right? There we go. So see, look at how, I'll show you in just a second how much I went away from the edge. Now when you get to here, you know, you have this little spot that you folded. You're just gonna lay your binding right on top of that. Line it, and I usually cut it flush with this turned back edge like this. And then you're good. You just lay that flat on there. If it's one thing I got good at, it is binding around corners and three-dimensional things. Yes, I know, right, Carrie? Exactly. You could do it on the outside, but it would be a little awkward. Yeah. So, okay, so this is what I did to correct it. Probably not going to notice that on the inside. I'm not entering this into the fair, you know. Let's trim all these edges now. You want them to be the width of the seam allowance, not smaller, not wider. So you just need the edges to be about 1/4 of an inch. Oh, this is also a good time, you know, to look at your seam here. Make sure you caught all your layers. So make sure it looks okay in there, okay? You don't want any surprises about this later on because it'll be really hard to fix it after this step. So it all looks pretty good. It's all gonna look so much better than this mess I have of thread colors and like this patchwork of fabrics, but it'll all look like it was supposed to be like this once I get there. I need some beefier scissors. So you just want it to be the width of your seam allowance. All this mess. So nice. It's so satisfying to get rid of it. Okay. You might want to use bigger scissors than these. All right, let's look at it. Okay, so then now you're going to turn it and flip all your binding corners like this. There's a lot of lint on the table here. I always kind of give my corners a nice good tug. I'm doing this kind. And now you're going to make sure that your bag doesn't slip under your binding, right? And with this little beginning spot right here, you can start like, bye Kevin, see you next time, have a good dinner. If you want, you can start like right on top of it. I kind of start behind it like this. I kind of, like I like to say, I like to get my sewing legs under me and then get to this little weird thickness here. So now remember, no one's going to see the inside of your bag. This is really excellent practice for binding, right? Oh, cool, Jan. Oh, I'm so glad. Now, because my black thread shows up like a Dickens on this head wig fabric here, I want to try and keep all of it on the binding. You know, that would be ideal, right? But no one's going to see the inside of this bag. And Ian, my little nephew, he's going to be fine with it, right? So don't stress about it. But that being said, you have your first pass of stitching as a guide. So make sure that when you fold this over, just go just past the original stitching so you cover it up. And then make sure you sew best you can where that original stitching is. Remember, anything to the left of this stitching is going to show on the bag, because this right here, that's the original stitching right there, right? That seam. So anything to the right of it won't show. It can't. You can even fold this and like a little, like if you stitch it here and that's hanging up like this, like flapping, that's fine. Right? And you get to your corners. I like to pre-fold my corner like this. I'm making sure my bag doesn't slip under. It doesn't want to, really. I use my awl for this kind of thing all the time. No pun intended. And when I come to the corner, I actually come straight at it. I'm not mitering a corner. This isn't a quilt. I just go to the corner and then I pivot. I'm pulling this like this so it stays nice and flat. I want to call it the baffle, but it's not really a baffle. It's just the sides of the bag. So I fold this under, and I use my awl to kind of pick up that fold and make sure I cover up the original stitching, but I stay to the right of it when I stitch. Just like that. All right, here I get to this corner. I always do this before I get to the corner. I fold it under. Because I pulled the binding as I was first sewing it, it kind of naturally wants to, you know, curve to the side and get sewn down. So I get to that corner and I pivot. So I push the bag like this, straighten it all out, fold it under, and keep going. I like using an awl because if the needle hits it, I've never broken a needle on an awl. I have been using this awl forever. Your chat is ahead of the video? Really? What's happened? Tell me the future. Okay, so now I'm getting near these straps, so let's just make sure they're all out of the way. Yeah, they're all out of the way. And unfortunately, all my stitching is showing because I was a noob and forgot that I had laid my lining under there. Let's clean it up a little bit. But this is the top on the inside of the bag. It's not going to show. So I use the awl because I can get really close to the needle. It's like having a pointy finger. And if the needle hits it, it's rounded. It's going to roll off of it. I've never heard a needle. I may have heard a needle. I've never broken a needle on an awl. And I've never heard the needle hit my awl. I'm sure it has. I have really put a lot of hours into binding with this awl. This is only my second one ever. My first one, a little blue one I got in design school. It finally just I lost it. But I'd never used it for doing this. I've been using this for 10 years, this one. And I like the Tapered Tailor's Awl by Clover. There's another one they make that's great, but it's sharp. It's too sharp for this. It'll tear your fabric or pierce all the way through. This doesn't really do that. You can kind of grab the fold. Like I grab the fold like this and I'm pulling it over. You see that? Nancy, you're just trying to prove that sci-fi is better and you're in the future, aren't you? It's better than fantasy. All right, we're almost to the end. And then we'll do our other one and then our bag's done. Which is great because I'm getting kind of hungry. All right, I pull the bag out of the way there. Pick up that fold. Oh, this is my long tail of thread, which don't know why that's there. Oh, that's from when I changed my bobbin. Did I not? You know, anyway, whatever. Whatever. All right. I could really use a lint roller. So there's our inside of our bag. All right, and here is what the outside will look like this. So there's our bag. Right? Looking good. Okay, so let's do our last side. This one's gonna be a little trickier because it's a lot thicker. Right now is probably a good time for me to do this handle that I left unstitched right here. I wanted my handle to be kind of double stitched like this, so I'm gonna do it now before I'd have to do it through the zipper. I'm so glad I remembered to do this. I'm not a big fan of how I decided to do this, but we'll try it out. Let's do this one here. I'm so suspicious of webbing. I've used it for years. That I didn't want to take any chances. All right. Oh, really? Nancy, that's how you figured it out? Oh, there you go, Eliza. Thanks for that tip. The other thing you can do if you're watching on like a device like your phone or an iPad, you can double tap the sides and it'll jump 20 seconds backward or forward. You can tell her I'm drinking a glass of water and she's not going to miss anything for a second. Okay, so now we have this last one. It's a little thicker. I didn't put my label in anywhere. Should I put my label in? I'll put my label in. Let's see, where should it go? Maybe I'll put it, I should have put it, maybe I could put it right here? That's too much, huh? On my nephew's bag. I can't remember, Barbara. Yeah, actually, I can't remember. Let me think about that. I don't have to go through the zipper opening. That's the good news, Barbara. Because you put it together like this. So I know what you mean, because you're thinking I would be able to open the zipper. My zippers don't have stops on them, or locks on them. I'm sorry, locks. So yeah, it's okay. Let's get rid of some of these threads now. I feel, ooh, there's some going on with my tension. Did you see that? I just undid my stitching right there by trimming off a thread. It was a loop. What's going on? Why was this doing that there? In this highly visible spot on the inside of the bag. This one looks crooked, but it's like the letter, the little envelope is like right around it. But you see that, those little dots there. Dagnabbit. Where's that? Right here. Okay. Let me reinforce this. I hope it's not the feed dogs doing it. Looks pretty terrible. Good thing we probably won't see it. Maybe I didn't carry on that one. Exactly. Maybe a little roll come bring a smile. Get on that. That's so useful for me. You're on a roll. You guys are so cute. All right, so right sides together, the outside of the bag that is. That's my center. I'm gonna clamp it. I have my needle right here, or pin right here, marking the center just because it was a little thick. Take that out and clamp this one too, like that. Home stretch, guys. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is, again, do it from the bag side. I'm going to double do this right here so I don't lose it. I'll start down here. Let's hope I have enough of this binding. Sewing humor. The puns are flying today. It's all the readers are here. There's nothing like hanging out with someone that when you like are really clever about like word use and they don't get it. You're just like, oh. Because, you know, when I hang out with, like, gamers and stuff, a lot of them don't read. And I'm like, you guys need to read a book. But I don't say that. I sometimes say that, but I don't always say that. I'm like, you would totally think this is funny. You guys are so smart. All right, so here we go. Now look at all these layers. Look at all these layers, you guys. That's a lot of layers. And when you have these layers, go with the smallest one unless you're like, I actually think that may not be lined up, you know? So make sure, like, okay, if you're going to line up this edge to this edge here, right here, make sure that your stitching is going to cover all this up, right? So... That's right, Terry. He's not going to catch a football in that thing, or, you know, if someone tosses him the ketchup, he's not going to... Right? Who needs ease? You just want to make sure all your layers are caught in your seam allowance. That's your primary goal right now. So when I get up to this edge here, I stop 1/4 of an inch away from here. So I'm stopping like right there and pivoting right there. I was just checking to make sure that would actually be okay. And then I pivot, and like the way, you can kind of see now how I pivot with this because I can kind of go like this and flatten it out. We could probably clip this one. Release some of the tension. I'm sliding all my threads and stuff just because it's less to fiddle with later on. All these thicknesses may be a bit much for some of the home machines out there. So just be careful. Change your needle if you need to. And I mean that because a sharper needle is going to give you less trouble. You need like 16 or an 18 needle maybe. I don't use a bigger seam allowance because it finishes this wide. My binding isn't wide enough. If you're quilting, it's a little different. I'm not a quilter, so I'm kind of, you know, learning about quilting right now. So my binding is double fold, meaning it's finished on this side and this side. And so I need the seam allowance for each side for that, plus the width of the seam, the binding. So ideally, if I were a robot and I could sew precisely, and I wanted this to finish 1/4 inch wide, I would need an inch wide bias. This is an 1 3/8 because it also allows for the thickness right here, because you need to allow for this right here and any little human error. Yeah, so oh no, Nancy. Yeah, right, Eliza. Oh, Terry, you got this. We believe in you. We're all gonna light a candle for you at the Sewing Fairy altar in your honor. All right, we're getting close to this corner here, so I'm gonna see like, how am I doing? I'm a little bit, I'm okay, I'm okay. This is more important, like maintaining the center of this to this, because you want these centers to be directly across from each other. Otherwise your bag, when it's, you know, together, if you don't have your center straight across, your bag's going to do this. Even a little bit is really annoying. So I'm trying to prevent that. So keep your bag lined up, because if you have to make an adjustments now, do it now at the corner. Don't do it there. Don't think that your cumulative amount all the way around needs to sort itself out that last corner. You got to kind of like manage it as you're going. Otherwise, you'll be a little bummed when you get there. You'll be like, oh, my backpack's looking like a funhouse backpack. So I'm at this corner, and I know it's hard to see here. I'm just gonna clip it right here to kind of relieve some of the, oops, that was a lot. We'll handle it, we'll handle it. I had a feeling that might happen. Yikes. I'm gonna check it just a second. Let me turn my corner and see. Now it's like, oh, I'm nice and relaxed. I have plenty of room to turn. What a jerk. Come on, backpack. No, 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 don't lose this. Where's my center? Wait, that's not the center. Why was that way over there? A gaming jacket. There you go. Yeah, just lose 10 pounds. Wait, why? Did you see that? Is that my center? This is my center, right? Let's make sure. Let's not go by the notch. Let's actually measure it. Okay, that's the center for that. Now, what's the center for this? We'll double check it. Nothing wrong with double checking. Unless it doesn't go your way, then you're a little mad. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna trust my original one there, but still. If it's not, that would be better. Okay. Okay. Let's back up and let's approach this corner again. Since I don't really like starting and stopping on a corner. It's too tricky. So just, you know, be nice to yourself. Back up a little bit. Get your feet under you again. There we go. All right. Oh, Terry. Wait, what are Taylor's tacks? They're not what I think they are, I think. Aren't they? There we go. That was no problem. That all lined up beautifully. So, how many bags of Halloween candy are you guys on now? My daughter figured out that I had some in the house. She saw my wrapper. She's like, wait a minute. We're supposed to get a bag to eat and then a bag to give out. Oh, thread marked. Okay. A 1 minute. Oh. I use the all sometimes. No candy at your house, Barbara? That's good. I've stopped eating it. I had a few and then I was like, I'm done. I'm cutting way back on the sugar right now. My rosacea like really flares up with sugar. And when the weather's changing and, you know. Look at this, you guys. Oh, okay, that's cool. 3 here, Carrie. Nice work. You don't get any, Lisa? Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I decorate pretty heartily for Halloween just because there's a whole long story with it. It was our old house where we used to live. The woman who, did I tell you guys this? I feel like I tell you guys the story and you're like, yeah, we've already heard this. She really wanted kids, and it was the great tragedy of her life that she didn't have a big family. And they even built the house around having kids and everything. So she would have like all the, so here I am, I'm at the same corner. So I really hope, like, this is not the same corner as this one. It's this one over here. So it's not going to create that wonkiness. It's just kind of funny. So she would like hand make popcorn balls and like the pretty cellophane and things like that. And she would have the kids come in and tell her all about their costumes and everything. Because I have friends that are my age who trick-or-treated there when they were kids, and they remember this, and they told me this story. So her house was like this big magnet for Halloween because she was very kind and generous, and all the kids loved going there. So I felt like, to honor her, I started really decorating for Halloween. I was also directly across from a playground, and I thought that would be fun for the kids and stuff. And my daughter was young, and it was just a fun thing to do. So I have a lot of Halloween decorations, but we go all out. Like I had, not all out, I shouldn't say all out, because there's houses I'm like, whoa. Mine were a little more traditional. I had like the, you know, the like skeleton, the paper skeleton from like the 70s that's like, you know, it's like the paper, it's like a picture of a skeleton. I had one of those. It was like falling apart. I put it on my door. We had gravestones, and we had like pumpkins and stuff like that. And now, wait, what is this monkey business? Oh, wait a minute. I'm having some, I need to match this up better. So now at this house, on canvas you can kind of do that. We always have star lanterns hanging from our eaves, like the big paper star lanterns. And for Halloween, though, I change them all out to like pumpkins and put a light inside and hang them up. So there's like a line of them. That helps getting trick-or-treaters to our house because they see we've decorated all month long. They'll go to the other neighborhoods and trick-or-treat, and then as they're coming home, they're like, we should stop by that one house that has all the decorations. So, you don't like candy, Nancy? Don't get mad at you. It's okay. That's okay. Now, if you don't like ice cream, we can't be friends. No, I'm just teasing. You still buy candy for you, Lisa. That's smart. Yeah. I really love black licorice. I don't eat it enough. All right, so I'm going to rotate right here. Okay. I'm not sure why mine didn't work perfect. My first one, my cat bag, actually worked perfectly. I didn't have to do any of these adjustments. It could be because of the interfacing. Sometimes it's more accurate to interface your fabric, then cut out the piece, you know? I want to pivot like right here. So I'm going to, this is the moment of truth, right? I'm trying to straighten this out a little bit like this. And then put that like that. And still get a corner. Like that. Get this all lined up. Get all these threads out into the seam allowance. And I made it with my binding. I'm so happy. Barely. Oh, that's fun, Lisa. Lisa. Oh, yeah. There's never a crunchy, salty thing you don't like? Oh, yeah. That is a weakness. All right, this is my little bit of corner there. We'll see how much it's off. All right, so I just need to trim this, and we're on our last seam, and we're done. What time is it? You guys have been here. It's 3 hours. So 3 hours to make this bag while I talk. Not bad. I mean, be honest, you guys. Like, for me, I feel like we're all time conscious, right? If I was like, ooh, there's a person with a video on making the Noodlehead backpack, And then you see that it's 3 hours long. You're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make that thing. Or do you not think about it like that? See, I'm so production minded. I'm always like, that should take 20 minutes. Everything should take 20 minutes. I know that's not realistic. I'm getting big scissors. This is ridiculous. Where's my scissors? Oh, wait, maybe these will work. I win at Finding Chicken today. I love those skeletons too, Nancy. And a couple years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, I was at somewhere like a Walgreens or Rite Aid or something like that. And they had actual full-size posable skeletons for, they were like 50% off or 75% off. And I was like, can I get this, please? And so now I have a skeleton that sits on my porch in a chair, you know. We haven't been carving pumpkins for a few years. I will, but my daughter's like, I want to carve pumpkins. I get it, and she never does it. So I feel like this is a good consolation prize, you know. Ugh. Watch me hack and slash here. Ugh. I just want to use my rotary. You know what? I'm going to use my rotary knife. That's what I'm going to do. It's not ideal, but my rotary knife blade is sharp and I can cut straight down. There's no danger of the bag because the bag's all on top. You need this to be definitely less than your 1/4 inch seam allowance because of the thickness. I'll explain why. Ooh, it's kind of hack and slashed. The scissors were doing such a chunky job, you know? Look at that. Like right here. That's not good. Oh yeah, Nancy, they have those in my town. Those little Scotty dogs. 3 hours is just, yeah, okay. That's good to know, X-Hillary. Okay. Yeah, right, Lisa, you'd never sew the bag in one sitting. So, okay, cool. I feel like that might deter people from watching the streams and stuff like, oh, 3 hours, what the heck, you know? You dressed up our skeleton, look like your husband, that's adorable. She doesn't like ice cream either. It's too sweet for you. Oh my gosh, Nancy. If you ever go to like Salt and Straw in Portland, I'm pretty sure they have a potato chip ice cream. All right, so because this one is so thick, I mean, look at this juncture right here. You have this pocket and the pocket on the outside of the bag as well. Look at how much thicker it is right here. So your binding needs to be able to go all the way around all these thicknesses and still have enough to fold and get top stitched down. So you definitely need this seam allowance to probably be a little bit under your 1/4 inch, you know? Poor Nancy. We love you, Nancy. Oh, really, Carrie? That's so cool. All right, so now I am going to look inside and make sure that the whole edge here is okay. So, you know, better now than later. So let me see if I can see all my edges. Double check. I have a couple threads poking through here. But all the corners, everything is in. We're good. We're on our last stitch of our magical backpack. You know, this actually looks kind of cute on the inside. The owl with the Deathly Hallows. I'm kind of surprised. All right. So I pull up all my corners like this. And I kind of trim it at an angle a little bit. You don't have to, but since no one will see it, I did, because I'm just going to pivot. I'm not mitering or doing anything fancy. So now you don't want to catch your bag, so just push the bag under like that. Now, this is where I can beat anyone in an arm wrestling contest, because I have been wrestling bags and binding and doing all these really like stiff bags and things for years. So you might get tired wrestling with your bag. Take a break. Don't hurt yourself. But let it know who's boss, and that's you. You're the boss, right? Okay. Oh, that's so really, Nancy. Well, there you go, you guys. I love that you're asking her about her childhood. She probably hasn't even seen that comment yet, and now she's like, I make shrunken heads out of pumpkins. Don't mess with Nancy, you guys. So remember, my needle's staying to the left of that first stitching. I'm getting here, there's all this bag here, so you gotta make sure you don't catch it in there. Get up there, and then I always like pull the bag and push this at the same time like this, and pivot. That just becomes like a habit since I've sewn so many three-dimensional style bags, like the bags that kind of stand on their own and stuff. All right, and I'm going to use my awl to pull that fold over to cover the stitching. No one needs to know it looks like a mess in there. They're going to see this and be like, it couldn't possibly look like a mess in there. It's so nice and tidy on the outside. How long does that take, Nancy? Drying them like that. One time, like at the end of Halloween for a few years, I would look at the sales for things. And one of the things I got was, do you guys remember in the Disneyland ride, the Haunted House? It's one of my favorites. How there's those pictures on the wall, the portraits, and they're always looking at you no matter where you are in the room. They're looking right at you in the eye. You're like, woo. I got some that kind of do that, but they're also like when you move, they look like a beautiful woman, and then when you move, she's like all decomposed. And they even have motion detectors on them, and they'll say something. But I don't do that part because it really scares the kids. But I have 2 of those, and they look like family portraits, like in black frames. What would I charge for a 3-hour backpack labor? Well, our labor rate was $25 an hour in-house for our items. I'm not shy about saying that. No, that is not what I paid my seamstress, by the way. She got less than that. The $25 is the everything it costs to have her, including her. Workers' comp and insurance, stuff like that, So I always look at it, and when I've gone to factories and they've bid on things for me, that's right about where they're bidding. They're bidding at about $25 an hour labor for everything. So if that's how much you want to be paid for it, great. But I'm a big advocate on people don't charge enough for handmade. And it's hard because, you might not be willing to pay what you would charge someone. What would a backpack cost then? I don't know. I didn't make these. This wasn't my product. This one would be really expensive. There's so much fabric and layers in this one. The findings and the notions are cheap. Zipper like this, you guys, zipper like this would cost me about 3 cents. What did it cost me? I think it was 7 cents a yard. What was it? It's the sliders, the pole. The pole is the expensive part. Those are about 20 cents each, I think. I might be wrong. I haven't looked at my prices in a while, you guys. But this brings up a good question. One of you guys has emailed me, and she said that she thinks that I could do a business stream, just like maybe a couple. People are really interested in how to do a stone products business. I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial person or wizard. I never did business planning and stuff like that. But I know how to manage production, and I know what works and what doesn't. And I got pretty good at the costing part of it. All right, our bag's done. So let's see it. So I would just never get myself into a situation, Mata, where someone, I told them I would make this backpack for them and charge them, to be honest. I'm kind of past that stage of my sewing years. There's plenty of people that will do it, and I if I find them, I always refer people to people like that. I'm happy to give them work. It's just not something I want to do, because it's not just your 3 hours in labor. It's also all the time it takes discussing things with them, planning it. You have to cut it out. So you didn't see me cut this out. This takes a while to cut out. There's a lot of pieces. Coordinating all of that, that's a lot of work. A lot of work. If you were doing a production style and you're doing a lot of them, then maybe, you know, you wouldn't have as many issues. So, all right, here's these little threads. All right, what do you guys think? I hate these little threads. Look, they're really hard to grab. Oh, this one I got. Okay. What do you guys think? He's cute, huh? All right. These kind of clash, don't they? Yeah. Exactly, Lisa. Yeah, the average person does buy the fabrics retail, not wholesale. Like this canvas is about $5 a yard wholesale, and it's like 58, 60 inches wide. It's great. It's a great deal. It's organic too. But yeah, canvas is a really great material for that reason, for the affordability of it. So, but yeah, I mean, I would be happy to have a stream where people could ask like all those kinds of questions, you know. Let's try it on. Do I look ready for Hogwarts? It's so comfortable. The straps are about as small as they'll go. I feel like this kind of clashes. There's Auntie Sarami creepily looking at you in the inside of your bag, making sure you eat your lunch. It is definitely a hodgepodge of magical fabrics. And then I have my zipper pole. I have, who's that stuck on? Where are they? Here we go. I don't have many left. My friend Maria would make these for us, these magical ones. I just sent her the artwork. Thanks for subscribing. Sorry, I can't see your name. My screen's so small. I need to make it bigger so I can see. I like saying hi to the person. Right, Nancy? There you go. That'll get rid of him. It's a good answer. No, remember when my Amelia dress was hanging in here? The one with the ghastly fabric? It was hanging here because I took a picture of it, and it was hanging so that all the bias would stretch it out so I could hem it with you guys. The landlord came, like, while I wasn't here, opened up my door to show people, like, what I do here. And the woman was like, that's the dress I really want to wear to the wedding. Like, the mother-in-law, the mother of the bride. And he was like, oh, so can you make that for her? And I was all, nope. They're not bamboo. They're wood. She's got a laser cutter and burns the wood and cuts them out for me. Well, she used to. Doesn't do it anymore. She does it for other people, though. It's her. By the way, she's an amazing sewist. Her name's Maria, and she has a business called A Needle Runs Through It, and she's on Etsy, and she makes boxy bags. Some of these fabrics you will see out of her bags and things. She's, I think, a vendor at Lambtown this weekend. So if any of you are near the Bay Area and are thinking about going to Lambtown and Dixon, I highly recommend it. It's a really cute little festival. So, yeah, you think so, Eliza? Okay. Yeah, right, Nancy? Okay, good. My poles aren't the same size, you know? All right. Not bad, eh? I love this fabric. Look at the Felix Felicis. Oh, Nancy, you don't even know what this is. You need some of this in your life, the Felix Felicis. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to read it. And you're going to have to read a lot of them to find out. All right, well, Mata was right. The double pole worked. We got our bag. Got a handle. Yeah, cool. And then we have mine, which I feel like fabric-wise, we like maybe a little better. So we have the catnap. Pug fur free. I highly recommend these little guys. They're just so fun. Kind of weird to wrap your head around while you're trying to cut them out. You know, these are feel good. I interfaced these. I should have done that with those. Oh well. Too late now, eh? Well, that was fun. This was the Making Backpack by Noodlehead. It's on our website. I think the pattern's like $9. It's really cheap. You can download it, and then all you're downloading is this, and then the whole schematic is there. The straps on my bag I made, Eliza, with canvas. They turned out great. I actually, even I was like, oh, these turned out pretty good. I really wanted to use this hardware. I didn't want to use the black plastic. And I have, the funny thing is, I have this color webbing in cotton webbing. It's beautiful, but it's 2 inches wide, and all my hardware is only 1.5. I didn't have enough of these in 2 inches wide, or these. I can't remember, one or the other. So, like, for me, I have all these little bits and bobs from everywhere, and I was kind of piecing it together. So I was like, all right, I have matching for these, but I don't have straps. So I just made it. And they were a little bit tedious. Like, you know, it's like an extra step that takes a little bit because I sewed and turned them, and then I even pressed it down the middle so that I wouldn't get that weird, like, lump. Like, I really put a lot of time and effort into this. I am still live. Are you guys losing me? I'm still live. Yeah. So yeah, and then I edge stitched on each side. So they turned out really great. I really like it. This bag turned out great. So anyway. So anywho, next week we are, I know I've been for a while, Elaine, 3.5 hours, but we're done. You fell asleep during the binding. Aw. It turned out great. We've got Harry and Dobby. Friends forever. Got our snitch pulls. Turned out good. Good bag. Big bag. Oh, good. So, oh yeah, good and plenties are good. So anyway, I recommend this bag. I've made a few. So let's see, next week we're making a zip neck tee by Anno and Pum. Can you see that? Did I say tee? A zip neck fleece pullover. It's not zip neck. I keep saying zip neck, and it's not zip neck. It's a drawstring neck. It's a pullover, but it does have the thumb holes. We have this really beautiful, like, pumpkin colored fleece behind me. It's been sitting there with this as the accent. It'll be really fun. And the company, I make sure I get it right. It's apparelpatternmaking.com, I think, is her website. And then her pattern line is called Anno and Pum. Let's see. Yeah. High neck sweatshirt. That's what we're making next week. Yeah, you can use quilting cotton for the lining. I did on this one. That's what we're making next week. So, I've been getting lots of requests for things to make. Like, can you please make this? I would love to. I would love to make whatever you guys want, but here's the thing. Right now, I'm trying to encourage sponsorships. So if you know a pattern company or a fabric store that may want that item in their store, or maybe it's their item and they would like a sample, or they want videos on how to sew it, maybe ask them really nicely, like, hey, have you considered sponsoring So Live? Because she will sew it live on camera, and then the videos exist for all to watch. And then they get it back. I don't keep anything. They get it all back. So, and the only thing that they're paying for is the materials and the pattern. It's a great deal. They get free videos. And as long as they're like, hey, everybody, So Live's going to be sewing our thing. Check her out. And then maybe put it in a newsletter. That's all I really want from it. I just want the content. So I'm loving the requests, and I've been getting them quite often lately, and I love it. But the thing is, like, I can't just keep shopping for fabric and buying the patterns forever, especially if it's not something that'll fit in my life, you know? So, yeah, it's a sweatshirt. So it does. It does a big old typo there, doesn't it? I think she gave me her proof. Yeah, I think she gave me her proof because it was printed weirdly. Nancy. So, anyway, that's what I just want to say. Anyone knows someone, you know, hey, she'll do it for free. And I really appreciate the support. I've been getting more and more of the Patreon subscriptions, and thank you guys so much. If you really want to continue getting videos like this that don't really cost you much, except if you're subscribing, please consider it. Consider Patreon or the Streamlabs thing. Everybody who has given me money is going to get the pie pincushion pattern for free. I know, I'm sorry, Nancy. I kept thinking it was a zip neck tee. I knew there was a drawstring there. I'll do a zip neck tee with you sometime, though. My husband would like one of those. So that would be great. I could do that for him. So this pattern's coming out, and the cupcake by the end of the month, and you guys will get it for free. Everyone who's supporting me. I mean, just considering like $5 a month. Look, there's the links right there. Awesome. $5 a month. It's, you know, all the videos you want. You can talk with me. You can ask me things. I'll answer whatever you want. And I'm going to start trying to give you more and more rewards, especially those folks on Patreon, because it's really easy for me to like see your names there. Whereas when it's through Streamlabs, I don't see it until it comes through PayPal. Then I'm like, someone gave me money and it didn't even get a notice, you know? So, and I'm always trying to watch it. Night, Manta. Sleep well. It's too late there, right there. You can go to sleep. So anyway, I just wanted to put a plug in. I'm trying to be better about that. What else I want to say? Oh, and if you have Amazon Prime and you connect your Amazon Prime account to Twitch, you have $5 for free to give me. It doesn't cost you anything. So there's that. I should do a little primer on how to do that. But it's pretty easy. Connecting, you just create your Twitch account, connect Amazon Prime, and then you say subscribe to me, and it's free. You just have to renew it every month. So, anywho, I just wanted to tell you guys that. So, thank you so much for coming. You guys spent a great part of your Saturday with me. I really appreciate it. I love having you guys here. I love sewing with you guys. I love all of our book talk today. That was awesome. And Nancy, you need like 1 page of your cover letter of your book report due next Wednesday of the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. No cliff notes. All right. Well, thanks for coming, guys. So we'll be making the pullover sweatshirt out of polar fleece on Wednesday. We'll be cutting that out. So it has Eliza. That's awesome. I'm thinking about that, Nancy. I think I might start doing something like that. I have a friend that wants to do that. Yeah, I know. It was really good. We need to talk books more often. We want AP format, Nancy. Oh, man. Poor Nancy. She can take it. Oh, and if anyone wants to join our Facebook group, it's, you know, it's small but mighty. You know, like people like to share their projects in there. Maybe you don't have Instagram or you don't want to post pictures of yourself, you know, in such a public format. Just ask to join the So Live Sewists on Facebook. It's a mouthful. You're welcome, you guys. Thanks for coming. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here. It's really fun. I love coming on Saturdays. All right, well, have a great weekend. I'll see you on Wednesday. I swear it's like on Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm always like, oh, I missed the stream. Even though I need the break, I'm always missing it. And I'm so excited to work on my patterns right now since I got those proofs back from the graphic artist and the pie slice. Everything's coming along, so cool. I know, Eliza, right? Yeah, you gotta stay safe, though. All right, well, thank you. And I will see you on Wednesday. All right? So we will be cutting that out, and we'll be thanking her for sponsoring us, which is awesome. A new sponsor. Yay. So have a great weekend. Feel all the fall vibes, you know, if it's fall where you live. And we need to come up with a time for the Australians to be able to watch us because they would really like to be here live sometime. So I may have to do a stream at a completely different time of the day, maybe 1 day a month. So that's awesome, Nancy. Thanks. That's awesome. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and we'll be cutting out the zip. Not the zip. The Anno and Pum high neck pullover sweatshirt. So, all right. Bye, guys. I will see you soon. Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. Bye, guys.